Hey, Charlamagne the God here. Before we start this week's episode of The Brilliant Idiots, I want to tell all my fellow brilliant idiots, everybody who supports this podcast, who listens to this podcast on the regular, I want to say thank you for listening on the regular. And I also want to ask you to take the time out of your day to go to BET.com, go to the social awards tab, and vote for Brilliant Idiots for Best Podcast. It's a tough category. Okay, a lot of podcasts that I listen to on the regular are in there. Joe Budden podcast, Rap Radar podcast, Kid Fury and Crystals the Read, my guys Jesus Sumero, NORE, and DJ F and the Drink Champs, my sister Angela Rye. Tough category, man. My peoples are all throughout this category. But if The Brilliant Idiots is indeed your favorite podcast, go to BET.com right now, go to the social awards tab, and vote for Brilliant Idiots. If not, go vote for one of the other podcasts, because there's a few of them. If they win, I win anyway, okay? God is great. Now let's start the show.
It's so stupid, it's positively brilliant.
The Brilliant Idiots Podcast.
Yep, Charlamagne the God.
Andrew Schultz.
We are the Brilliant Idiots, and today's show is sponsored by Squarespace.
Hey.
Squarespace makes it easy to turn your ideas into a unique website, showcase your work, blog, or publish content, even sell products and services of all kinds in just a few clicks. You can customize everything from look and feel to settings and products using beautiful templates created by world-class designers. Head to squarespace.com to start your free trial. When you're ready to launch, use the offer code IDIOT to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain.
That's
also,
what I'm talking about.
go to brilliantidiotsmerch.com.
Yes.
Go pick up some Brilliant Idiots merchandise. We got some new items.
New hoodies. We got the Men Don't Cheat hoodie.
Okay.
Which is true. Obviously, men don't cheat. We know that. We've always known that. And then we got the Keep That Same Energy hoodie. Both of those are available at brilliantidiotsmerch.com. Brand new. Charlamagne and I have been talking with High U Clothing, and we're gonna put out a few more things, I think.
Those are guys. Salute to High U Clothing. They show us a lot of love and a lot of respect. So,
absolutely.
You know, I love when we do our live shows and when I'm just out in the street and I see somebody roll up on me with a Brilliant Idiots t-shirt. That means that you have invested
the best
into the brand, and I appreciate that. All right.
Yeah.
Now, first Brilliant Idiots in 2018 with us together.
Yo, man, it's good to see you. I missed you, bro.
Yeah, because when you're not here, they
just
say the
me?
show sucks.
Okay.
When I'm not here, they say the show sucks.
They need us. They need us.
But it's weird to me when this is the stupidest shit I see on.
Talk to me.
When they say the show's not the same when y'all both not there. Duh. Duh.
Yo, y'all are observant. Yo, that's one
Really?
thing we gotta give it up to Brilliant Idiots fans. Y'all are very observant.
That's a hot take for your ass, goddammit. But if you know anything about the Brilliant Idiots, if we had to do Brilliant Idiots trivia, and I said, who was the first guest on the first episode of Brilliant Idiots ever? Could you guess that?
The Oracle. The
I
Oracle.
want to give y'all a second just to go to your SoundClouds right now. Not SoundCloud. Yeah, it's on SoundCloud. Go to SoundCloud right now.
iTunes.
And I'll know within the first 5 minutes
Do
if
you
you
know
got
the
it right.
name of the episode?
I know the name of the episode.
Drop it.
The Star Shame
Enterprise.
episode.
Great fucking name.
Yes. But JasFly is here, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey.
I don't know if you
I
want.
didn't adjust my mic prior to. I'm unprepared for this.
No, you're golden.
Now,
Hey.
do we call you by your full name because you're
Jazz Waters.
Jazz Waters.
You don't want JasFly.
I mean, I'm indifferent. Yeah, it's Jazz Waters, JasFly.
Jazz, I know
It's just
we're
Jazz.
not objectifying women in 2018,
Uh-huh.
but I think that you look absolutely ravishing.
That's not objectifying.
Oh, thank
It
you.
is.
Oh, you said ravishing. That's
said
whoa.
ravishing,
Whoa.
son.
If you just said look
no,
nice.
No. Ravishing is like you look like a meal. You know what I mean? Like,
Whoa. By the way, can you call women snacks in 2018?
hell yeah, that's a snack. Do you know what I mean? That's the food groups. That's the whole pyramid right there. That is
Food
everything.
court in the mall. I'm not partaking in this.
But I just need to get it out so we can have normal. You know what I mean? I just need
So
to,
we've cleared the air.
Exactly. It's like one of those people have Tourette's.
Yeah.
Once they get it out, they have normal conversation. That's it. So I just have my
Imagine if
little.
Louis C.K. could have just did that instead of jerking
no,
off.
that's very.
To clear the air,
Just
he could have
one
just said,
pump
hey,
and
you
then
look
boom.
good.
Yeah.
Louis had to jerk off everywhere to clear
But
the
what
air.
if he could just do a one pump and then we out?
But Jazz Waters, the reason I said her full name is because, you know, over the past year, Jazz, you've got a lot of writing credits.
Boom.
Thank
A
you.
lot. Let me see. Let me think about it. This Is Us
Yeah.
on NBC.
Great show. You're the reason for America's tears?
No.
Is that?
No, definitely not.
Yo, people be. Let me tell you something. I got friends.
This is what we're doing. All right.
I got friends of mine. No joke. Like I have friends of mine that have like these are pretty like tough guys. I would say. Mm-hmm. They like talk to me about this show. They go, listen, let me tell you something, Jules. Don't watch this show with your girl. Don't watch this show with her because she will see a side of you that she's not prepared to see.
Why is this such a tearjerker?
Yo,
Dan Fogelman.
It hits on everything. Something's wrong with everybody on the show. The worst case, I mean, it is like maybe it taps into some kind of empathy, there's some humanity that we all got inside that we block.
Yeah,
I don't know what
exactly
it is.
what it is.
Oh my!
What do you think, Jazz? You're in the writers' room.
I was.
You was?
Yeah. It is just honest storytelling. It's who we are. Mm-hmm. We're all fucked up. We're all really complicated. Nobody's family is perfect. And it's telling a really honest story about what's wrong with us, but it's what's wrong with us that actually unites us. So it taps in.
And it like touches on little shit that everybody either they deal with or like they have a relative or friend or something deal. So it becomes like this interesting, almost like personal. It feels like a 30 for 30. You ever watch the ESPN
That's
shit?
a dope comparison.
Yeah, because every 30 for 30, I don't care what it's about, I'm crying. It could be about Ric Flair banging 20,000 women, and by the end of it, I'm like, damn, this guy.
30 for 30 is about people. The lens is just sports, but it's
and that's the beauty of like if you capture a lens. If you get the right lens, you could tell a story about anything.
Exactly.
Like, you got men getting emotional watching these stories.
Dan Fogelman.
Dude.
But that's always been the best art, right? The best art comes from a real place, right? Or it's based off real events.
Yeah. I mean, we were crying in the writer's room. It's you spill your guts. You tell your stories, and then they find their way on screen.
That's why they'll never get a Tupac movie right.
Why?
Because Tupac's real life was better than anything that you could actually put on paper and have somebody script out and act.
What you mean?
Like I've seen the Tupac. What was that documentary called where they used his voice to narrate himself?
Which I thought was actually really good.
When you said that, Jazz just cracked her knuckles. She was like, "Say what?" Who can't crack
I have no interest in a Tupac movie.
But that doc was so good, I don't need anything else.
Exactly.
And
the other thing is, you don't need anybody to play Tupac.
No.
Let him play himself. That's where you fuck up every time.
I didn't think the FX. Listen, I didn't think the FX OJ thing was as good as the doc, the 30 for 30.
This is where I get off the train.
I liked it, but it wasn't good.
Two different stories.
You think?
Yes.
What was the difference?
Because the doc was about OJ. Mm-hmm. The FX People versus OJ was about the trial.
The trial. Okay, got you.
Yeah, so it's two very different stories.
Whoa. Well, maybe there's something to that. So if you're doing the story, if you're doing the scripted, you can't tell it about the man.
You gotta hone in. You have to. If you're doing something scripted, you have to contain it. There has to be a beginning, middle, and end.
It can't just be this is everything. It's gotta be one story within the life of said person. Mm-hmm. Ooh, and that's why the Tupac shit fucks up because
they try and tell the entire story.
They try to do the
whereas
doc.
It's like, listen, no, just give me one night. You can make 2 hours out of one night. The night he died, there's
that's
a movie.
It. What is the beginning, middle, end of this night? Oh,
or the rape night. Because it could have been about betrayal because those were all his people.
Absolutely.
So here's my question. Why don't, and we've had this discussion about like Marvel films and stuff like this, why is it that the people that are in power don't understand these things? Why do these same mistakes
they're not creative.
Be made?
Yeah, it's show business. It's not,
So these are just guys who are proficient with making money, but not with, maybe writing or understanding the story and that kind of shit.
So the guy who founded Marvel Studios, which I'm really blanking on his name, but blame it on fatigue and
Stan Lee?
Respect.
No, that's not the studio.
Not the studio of it. When they decided they were going to start, I can't remember his name. But he told us basically what he did. He said, I'm going to lay out all of the superheroes that I personally love, and I'm going to take all of their films and I'm going to put them in genres. So Thor was a dark comedy. Deadpool.
We spoke about this on Westeros. Logan is a Western.
Logan is Man on Fire with Wolverine.
Hot. Yes. Yeah,
what they took, and they took the characters out of their world and put them in genres, and now we have these films. Okay. So it all comes down to storytelling. It's, can you tell a story? Can you make it engaging? Can you touch people? Can you hone in?
What's it called? What's that movie? Deadpool?
Yeah.
Deadpool is like...
It's a dark comedy.
Yeah, it's like Superbad.
It could have been a Kevin Smith movie.
Yeah. yeah. Not Mall Cop. What was the one about the
Chasing Amy?
All those, yeah.
All those. Yeah.
But isn't there this thing where it's only like 4 genres of films? Like there's only 4 they do. Like they do westerns, they do comedies. I forgot.
Yeah, it's the whole idea that there's really you could tell a story in I think it's 6 different ways.
6 different ways.
I think.
Yo, I don't know. Part of me almost doesn't want to share this with people. I think we should, but like, Are you
gay? Are you coming out?
I like cocks all over me.
That's
Depends the color of the cock. So,
wait, I always want someone to come out. So I'm excited.
No, but like, you ever see that like YouTube video? It's like these kind of musical comedians that show how every pop song has the same 3 chords. Mm-hmm. So there's something to be said about that with story writing, right? Like, and most of us just go, myself included, go into a movie and we watch Star Wars. We're like, oh, this is such a fun movie to watch, without realizing that there is like a structure to the hero's journey or whatever, these types of things. And I worry that if I know it too well, it will affect the way I indulge in movies. And
welcome to my world.
Oh, that's all day. That's jazz all day.
No, and that's why I'm interested in having you here. And
600 BC, a ancient Chinese warrior at the end of a battle stumbles onto the Great Wall of China, and he climbs his way up and he sits there and he contemplates life and what his journey was for and what he just fought for and all the soldiers that he killed. And then at his very last moment, he said, I got it wrong. And he fell off onto the ground and he cracked open. That's Humpty Dumpty.
Humpty Dumpty, yo. I was thinking the same thing. That's crazy.
Like, you can tell anything in any way as long as you know what the story is.
But does it, okay, here's my question to you. Knowing the Matrix, right, does it affect you when you're watching the movie? Do you go, oh, I know it's happening now. I see this coming.
It's stuff that I've loved, that I've called
and
jazz.
She ruins it.
And I'm like,
I ruin everything.
What the fuck?
I do. I ruin everything.
On low key, like with comedy, I kind of feel that way. Like I see I know the nuance of like structure and bits, and people who think, oh my god, this bit is absolutely fantastic. Whatever. It's like, yeah, but I saw it coming. I knew where they were.
Did you see Chappelle's joke coming? Did you watch Chappelle's special yet?
Oh wait, I haven't seen it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I haven't seen it.
Yes.
Yeah.
You saw it coming? Come on, tell the truth,
I can't. I haven't seen it.
That shit was funny as fuck.
It was hilarious. Still, hilarious. But like, I knew what was going. Yeah.
Stand up is the last like place that surprises me.
For
got you. Like stand up surprises me.
Why? I mean, nobody's pushing the envelope anymore. Nobody's trying to do anything new.
No.
I think she means like she doesn't see it coming.
I will go watch stand up and I can just fall into it. Yeah, versus like if I'm watching something on screen or if I'm reading something, I know where it's going.
You and I are opposites because drama is what I'm drawn to because comedy, it's too close.
I write both.
See it all. You see it all the time. Yeah.
So it's the same with story is story.
Yeah.
You make it funny, it's a comedy. You make it touching, it's a drama. Yeah. You make it scary, it's horror, it's genre.
So what's the last good thing you've seen that you was like,
I, Tonya.
Wow? What is
was
it?
it that
love
good?
I, Tonya.
The Tonya Harding, the figure skater chick.
Oh.
I love I, Tonya. It is.
But we know how that ends.
we know how Passion of the Christ ends.
It's not about how it ends. It's how it all occurred.
Got you.
Yeah. That's what makes it very intriguing.
So they took a day or something. They didn't do the whole drawn out thing?
No, they took, this is how Nancy Kerrigan ended up fucked up.
Okay.
Yeah.
With that said, is there anything fictional that somebody can create to intrigue people anymore?
Real life is better than fiction.
That's what I'm saying.
Real life is far more intriguing.
Yo, you know who? Duck Dynasty changed the game, yo.
Why you say that?
So I had a conversation with the people at A&E about Duck Dynasty. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yo, listen, I understand why people are drawn to the show. And she kind of like smirks and she's like, well, why do you say that? And I go, it's just a sitcom, but all of a sudden my expectations are really low because it's a reality show. Even though it's not, but I have really low expectations. But the funny is just as funny as any sitcom because I'm sure you guys script this stuff.
They have table reads for this.
Exactly, right? But the audience is suspending disbelief, right? We're like, oh no, this is real. So you have low expectations, high reward, right? And then she's like, absolutely. She goes, I go, now how do you do that with drama? And she goes, that's what we're trying to do. And it's very difficult because what happens in a drama? People die, people get shot, people get abortions, right? She's like, how do you do that on TV?
Easy.
A few years later,
Live
Love
PD.
and Hip Hop.
Oh, no, I was thinking Live PD. Because live PD is drama. You just do it live. Like it's live in real time.
That's the police show, right? And I think on some level,
First 48 and all of those things.
And it's like, how do it's difficult for somebody in your position who's writing both drama and comedy. How do you compete with how fucked up reality is when their expectations are this low and yours are this high?
So I was working in development in 2003 through 2006. So I was in Hollywood on the other side when reality TV boomed, and it was putting scripted sort of out of the game. And it's exactly what you said. It's that you got to hone in on a version of real life that was far more intriguing than something that someone made up, even though this is also made up. I think what's happening now is because real life is stressful as fuck. Yo, like,
we want a break?
Yes, we want a break from our crazy lives, our neighbors' crazy lives, from Trump, from the weather, from global warming. Like, we're exhausted, and now is the time to go back to the land of make-believe.
Fantasy.
Yeah, fantasy.
Marvel.
Fantasy
DC,
represents hope.
Yes.
It's the idea of what could be.
I totally see it. We want to get lost. We want to get lost in this world that's not that related. One of the beautiful things about Bright, I don't know how you felt about Bright. I
felt that either way Will won. Because you watched it just to see how bad it was, or you watched it because you like Will, but either way you watched it.
Floyd Mayweather.
And Netflix has never released the numbers for anything, but they did for Bright.
Exactly. It's like someone count your pockets and you finally go, fuck it, here's the best. Here it is, motherfucker.
But I like when reality and fantasy are combined. Like, you know, especially like you say, the world we live in now. Well, let me show you what the world would look like if we actually did have a woman president. Like Will Packer and Aaron Magruder got that Black America show coming out that shows what would happen if black people had reparations. Like, I think that's the next wave to me.
Yeah.
It's a cool fantasy. We get to suspend disbelief for a moment and live in this world where like things can be dramatic, but they don't have the same weight because I know it's not happening to me.
It's that edgy political satire. It's a way to. It's subversive. It's where it used to be. Richard Pryor had a television show that lasted one season, and he opened his monologue with, I think it was, if it wasn't a monologue, it was right after, a sketch in a boat where literally it was talking about how with the boat is sinking, black people are always going to be last. And it was so subversive, and it was comedy, and it was edgy, and it was on NBC.
Yeah.
So I think we're returning to that place of let me make you uncomfortable because you're already uncomfortable, but at least this way I can make you laugh so that I can make you think.
I don't know how we got away from it because you think about stuff that Norman Lear was doing with the Jeffersons and all in the family.
Yo, think about the equity that Richard Pryor had to get away with that in what was this, the 80s or
this
something?
This was 84, 85.
It was a fight, though, because if you ever read Paul Mooney's book, they used to have to fight for all
They created the time delay for Richard Pryor.
Yeah.
Because of Richard Pryor, because Lorne Michaels wanted him on SNL. Like, we owe Richard so much.
Equity, man. Nobody, like, think about how much power you wield.
Yeah.
That in the 80s, motherfuckers were like, fine, just put it out. Fine, we trust him. People love him.
He had to fight for it, though. Remember, you ever read the story? I think it was a Paul Mooney book where he wanted to do the nude promo.
Yeah.
But he wanted his dick cut off.
Great. Let's go.
But they let him do it.
Yeah.
But he had to fight for that shit.
Go.
You've seen the show, right?
The Rich Pryor show.
Yeah. All of that is what I think, like, when I saw that press release, that's what I was thinking of the Aaron and Will thing. Like, Aaron Magruder is that guy who can do it, and Will has that platform, and it's like, I want to go back to that. Let's make people uncomfortable.
Bro, the Boondocks is the greatest show that nobody puts in their top 3 for whatever reason. The first 3 seasons of the Boondocks are some of the best television. I don't give a fuck if it's animated or not. And he pushed the envelope. Like last night, I was looking for Boondocks on Netflix, but it's not on there anymore. So I could let my daughter watch the Martin Luther King episode. Honestly, like how would King react if he was alive right now? Because it's just that good.
So, question: is it able to push the envelope that much because not that many eyes are on it?
I think it was because it was a cartoon.
Well, I think cartoon definitely has to play with it, but if it's the marquee cartoon that everybody's talking about and then they start pushing shit, now you get Twitter complaining, now you get Instagram complaining, now you get the blogs talking about it. But if nobody's talking about it, there is a freedom.
Boondocks is a little before Twitter, and it started with mad hype.
Yeah.
Because it came from a comic book that was
I
actually
remember.
out.
I would look at it was the strip, right? It was a comic strip.
Yep.
Yeah. The cartoon of it helped it, and I think it also contained it, because just from a production standpoint, when you're dealing with, first of all, anything with kids, real life kids, you got to season before they look different. And then you have to tell different stories.
That's true.
Versus if it's a cartoon, your actors are stationary and you can continue to tell the same stories. The flip side to that is that they're not growing. So even if the point of view changes, the show will start to feel a little bit of stasis, because the actors themselves don't change. They look the exact same. One of the greatest things to do is to pick a series you love and go back and watch the pilot and watch it all the way through, and you see how the show changes with the world and the time, and how the actors dress different, and fashion changes, and music changes. Well, a cartoon, The Simpsons has been the same since the beginning. And so when you sign up if you're still watching The Simpsons, you are eating the same meal on purpose. You know what you're going to get. The only difference are the jokes. So I think that it helped it, but it also sort of contained it.
Yeah, because I want Bart to get some pussy. I mean,
but Bart's in 4th grade.
That's what I'm saying. Like, let Bart grow up to get some pussy. Like, I like when they show Bart as an adult and he got a family now. Like, I feel like he deserves that.
Yeah, but that, you know what it is?
You can't tell me they wouldn't have loved Bart by high school. Bad boy, you know what I'm saying? Could skateboard, you know, graffiti. You know what I'm saying? He'd had a rap career by high school. You can't tell me they wouldn't have loved Bart in high school,
it's
man.
true.
Bart would have had the hoes. I didn't mean to say hoes. I'm trying.
But maybe there is a funny flash forward episode with The Simpsons.
They did one.
Oh, they did one.
Yeah,
they've done everything The Simpsons.
Yeah.
I feel like, I don't know. It is interesting to look at cartoon. We always talk about Brilliant Idiots doing a cartoon with it because
do it.
We're going to do it.
We're going to do it eventually. I don't know when we're going to do it. But it's one of those things where I think Charlamagne pointed this out really well. Is like we have quite edgy content, right? And it's one of those things when you see it acted out as people, all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, is that really happening?
Yeah.
But there's something about having 4 fingers and being a cartoon that makes it not as sexist, not as homophobic, not as racist, not as anything, right? There's something that makes it a cartoon, literally cartoonish.
If Peter Griffin says something offensive, you gonna take that up with Peter Griffin?
Yes, I'm protesting Peter Griffin.
Who are you protesting?
Right,
Where you put a whole
you don't know what
outside
his
of Cartoon
voice
Network?
looks like. Yeah.
And you wrote, This Is Us, you wrote on the breaks.
Yeah, which you were on. Thank
I did
you.
an episode of the breaks. James Davis show.
Yeah, Comedy Central.
Comedy
Hit
Central.
Adjacent.
I feel like I'm missing one.
Kidding, which I'm on now.
Kidding with
it's Jim Carrey's new show.
Have you met Jim
Carrey got
yet?
a new
I
show?
have. Yeah, he came into the writer's room.
You think Jim's going to kill himself?
No.
Jim is.
I wouldn't be surprised if he killed himself.
No, I hate.
I say that, hoping to God he does not.
Why do you think he's gonna kill himself?
I think that he's.
This
I'm
is
getting
mad
snippets.
awkward, by the way, just
Listen,
to let you know. But,
I'm just saying, like, I've just been seeing snippets of these things, and he seems to be at a place in his life where he's trying to justify his unhappiness, and he's searching for happiness, and he can't find it. And then he's doing this thing that I've seen a lot of people do, which is, if I can't be happy, what I'll do is I'll take away the meaning of life. There is no meaning of life. If I can't be happy, well, then life is unimportant. We're just a collection of molecules and nothing happens and then we die, etc. And once you stop adding even a fake meaning to life, life becomes less valuable. And it's just a tragic kind of
That's
situation.
why I love perspective.
So-
I think Jim is the smartest motherfucker moving, and I think I hate the word woke. I can't stand it because some of you woke motherfuckers just too
Need to
tired.
go to
Y'all need
sleep.
some sleep, exactly. But I feel like he's aware of what's really going on in the world, and I think it's driving him crazy. Not driving him crazy like psychologically, but just the fact that y'all don't see what I see. I think he's
Didn't
very
his
in tune.
girl commit suicide or some shit like that? And blame him?
all the headlines are the headlines. You can Google that.
Yeah.
I will say this. Jim came into our writer's room and was there for the day and bled on the table for us. And it was really fascinating. What I've learned about life is that it is all about perspective. Perspective is the only superpower. And from what looks like a tornado from the outside is still in the middle. And I think Jim is going through a period of transformation, and one person's breakdown is another person's breakthrough. And I think we're seeing it happen in real time. And I think he's sharing what he's learning.
Yeah.
And it's great for us because we get to use that because he's bleeding openly for us. So I think to what you were saying though about taking away the meaning of life, I think that to learn something new, you do have to let go of the old. You have to. Sure. You do have to take that away.
Shed the skin.
Yeah. Yep. And so, just because someone is somewhere else on that journey doesn't make them wrong. That doesn't mean that they're doing something that they shouldn't be doing, and that doesn't mean that you're wrong. It just means that they're somewhere else.
But isn't that the world we live in, though?
Yeah.
Like I saw it with Chappelle, too. Yep. When they were going through their transformational period, like, he's crazy.
Absolutely. The first thing, when someone doesn't understand what you're doing, the first thing they do is say you're crazy.
Sure. Yeah. I'm not saying he's crazy, though. I think he's, like, completely cognizant of aware of what's going on. I just think that he's been very vocal about battling depression and dealing with these types of issues. And as a comedian, I understand where this is coming from, right? Like you have a void and you want to fill it, and he's filled it his whole life. And maybe now he sees his career, going in a different direction, and he's not on stage filling that void, and he
paints a lot, though. I thought about that. It's funny because I literally having a conversation about Jim Carrey last week with Arian Foster because he loves Jim Carrey, and I was like, yo. I see these streams of consciousness come from Jim from time to time, but I'm like, what he needs an outlet. Like what art is he putting out?
Showtime.
That's what it is. And then he put me on the Jim paintings.
Yeah.
But I guess my point is like you have to find something to fill that void. And we even saw it with like the Linkin Park guy. You know what I mean? The guy,
Chester Bennington.
Yeah, Chester. It's like I think what happens with these guys is their whole life they go, when I'm famous, I'm going to finally feel happy. When I'm successful, I'm going to feel happy. And then they get famous and successful. You see it happen with Kevin Durant right now. Is like my whole life, when I win a championship, everything's going to be fine, and I'm going to feel that bliss I've always wanted.
Yeah, but you didn't expect the bald spot.
And then
if Kev didn't have, I'm telling you, Kev didn't expect the bald spot. He'd have everything he wanted.
I know.
If that fucking bald spot.
I know. His head looks like a Crunch bar. So what happened is he goes to, and then he goes to, he wins a championship, and all of a sudden he has those same feelings. That must be fucking frightening. Same thing with Chester. He becomes one of the biggest musicians in the world, and all of a sudden, I'm still feeling these same feelings of sadness and depression. And I think maybe Jim has realized that, and he's going a different route. He's like, okay, how can I tackle this? How do I understand why we have these feelings? Why I feel helpless? Why our brains work this way? And I hope to God that he figures it out and finds a way to cope.
By the way, we're all assuming here. We don't know if he's unhappy. We don't know if he feels helpless.
That's what we do on this show. We assume.
I'm not assuming.
Listen, say again.
I'm not assuming.
You know of a personal relationship. I'm assuming.
Oh yeah. No, I think
I can't speak on it like you can.
I think. I don't. You know what?
Now, hold on. I don't need you keeping it too real now.
Yo, no.
We need you on this show right now. I don't need you keeping
Listen, we're having a This Is Us moment right here.
I see the clock moving. You don't have to keep it real about it.
She's about to put it all on the line. She's about to put it all on the line.
It's not worth it, Jazz.
Charlamagne just stop the hot takes. You're getting soft, bro.
Yes, I am.
You're getting fucking soft.
Hey, man. Yes, I am.
See?
There's no need to do. It's no need to do that.
No.
If it was a white rapper, you would have let him say that shit immediately.
I would. Let it fly, bro.
Let it fly. That shit immediately. Go for it, dog.
You'll be fine. You'll be fine.
Just more on a macro level, like it's, you have to be uncomfortable. You have to ruffle feathers. You have to upset the norm. You have to challenge people, and the way to do that is to figure out who you are and to dig in. And when you're in the public eye, people are watching that process. J. Cole, Forest Hill Drive.
Yep.
The song Love Yours. It's all about the idea that here is this dude that his entire life he's sitting in Fayetteville and he's like, yo, if I just could be the number one guy, I'm gonna be happy. Everything will be good. And then he got there. His whole album is I got to the top and realized everything that I needed was there and was home. And, even just me in my life, like, look, the level up is real, but also so are the lessons. And you realize that it's like, yo, I could have a nice bank account, but if I'm not fulfilled and if I don't know who I am and if I'm not happy, that don't mean shit. None of it means anything.
It is so... Okay, hold on a second. This week's episode is brought to you by Adult Swim's new sci-fi comedy Hot Streaks. Okay? You gotta watch this show. I'm not gonna lie. I turned it on. It's strange at first, but the characters in this world, they're going to leave you with this kind of never-ending sense of what the hell is going on. It's clever. It's funny. It's a cartoon, mind you. It's clever as far as it's funny. The writers clearly know what they're doing. It's created by this guy named Brian Weissel and the team that's behind Robot Chicken and Rick and Morty. I know that some of you guys have seen Robot Chicken, definitely Rick and Morty. People always tell me about this Rick and Morty show they're saying it's absolutely brilliant. I watched the pilot episode of this show, Hot Streets, and I'm telling you, I'm one of these guys who I'm not the biggest cartoon dude. I'm reluctantly watching it, and then I found myself enjoying the fucking episode. So if I put up those barriers and I like it, if you're into Rick and Morty or into these kind of cartoons, you're gonna definitely be into this. As far as like the voice work on it, Justin Roiland, the co-creator of Rick and Morty, he's the lovable sidekick and badass dog named Chubby Wubby. There's like animals in it, but they're clearly done by human beings. It's funny. It's a lot of like tongue-in-cheek stuff, a lot of satire. But you watch the show, I'm pretty sure that you're going to enjoy it. It premiered January 14th. But you can watch the new sci-fi comedy every Sunday at midnight on Adult Swim. So check out Adult Swim on, wherever you guys, whatever your cable subscribers are. But go check it. I wonder if they have this clips of this online. Chris, do they have clips of this? Can they watch? So. I think you can watch at least the trailer, if not the first episode, online. So go check that out. You can check it out at Adult Swim. But it's on every Sunday at midnight on Adult Swim. It's funny. Okay, I give it my Hot Street is a funny cartoon. It's inspiring. It's like, yo, we got to get this Brilliant Idiot shit on.
We're gonna do it. We're gonna get it done.
All right, back to the show. I was in Jerusalem and I was talking to this rabbi and I was just asking him questions about about life and about.
Are you Jewish?
No, I'm not. But I just wanted to experience. Okay. I just wanted to go to the center of the world. Experience what we're all coming from. Right?
Jerusalem's the center of the world.
I thought it was Africa.
So did I.
But that's all about
perspective.
What tribe you with?
Africa's the center of the world.
Beginning of life.
Well, I didn't say the beginning. I said the center.
Okay.
I think that Jerusalem is the center, meaning like you have the three Abrahamic religions all coming from here. This is the value system.
I thought you were talking about on the map.
No.
I'm like, where the fuck is that?
Okay,
so they sit there and go, yo, Jerusalem on the equator, bro?
The center.
No, meaning like our value systems come from here. Like regardless if you're Muslim, Jewish, Christian, like you know what I mean. This is where like the idea of God comes from. For so many people. For people in Asia, no, but for the rest of us, yeah. So, but we were talking about God, and he was talking about there's something that's written in the Bible. It talks about like if you don't practice your commandments and love them, God says, I will beat you, or something like that. I'm paraphrasing. And he goes, do you understand what that means? And I was like, yeah, it sounds like God is kind of being a dick. And he goes, no. He's saying, don't do this for me. Don't do favors for me. I'm fucking God. I don't need your human favors. I'm giving you this so you feel happy. And I was thinking the other day as I'm reading this book about Titans, and all these billionaire guys have the same fucking daily routine. They believe in this daily routine, and they all have very similar things in their daily routine. And I've always resented daily routines because I felt imprisoned by them, right? I was like, oh, I have to go to the gym. I have to do these things.
Habits can be the death of you.
Right. So, but then I realized, and then after that conversation with that rabbi, I flipped everything. I'm not imprisoned by the daily routine. The things in this routine serve me.
Yeah.
Much like this religion that God gives you serves you.
There's a power in discipline.
There's a power. I go to the gym first thing in the morning. I feel good.
Yeah.
I do my question of the day first thing in the morning. I automatically
meditation, prayer, all of that is for you.
It's grounding.
Yes.
Yeah, God don't need your tithes and offerings.
He's God, son.
Yeah.
He's God. It's like offering Bill Gates some money because he made Microsoft.
Yeah.
He's good. So I think there's something to that. This idea of like we said, perspective, but doing these things because they serve you.
I mean, it's like I text you about the globes, and it was like, realizing, I have to do something else. There's something like it's time. It's where you spend your energy, and when you are aligned with who you are, and trust me, it's not continuous, but when you are following your inner compass and you know who you are and you know what you're supposed to be doing, there's a deeper meaning, and you find joy in even the small things. And then the things that are distracting and not of you can be entertaining in spurts, and then they can just be distractions that you're like, yeah, I'm good.
You speaking about the Golden Globes, because you
wrote
we're going to attend the Globes.
Yeah, we were nominated. Yeah.
But you was like, I don't need to be here because you should be focusing on something.
I'm on script for Kidding. And so I needed to focus. And like, this is, to date, the most important script of my career right now. And so I needed to, and I knew if I was in LA and I was, I'd get caught up in all of that. And that's not where I was. And I needed to follow my compass. And so I left, I bounced, and I was writing my episode, and it clicked in that moment that someone asked if I had FOMO.
Missing out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I was like, no. But that no was for me. And I understood the idea that, I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. And what looks like discipline and sacrifice to other people was actually giving me great joy because it's my purpose.
I've been like that my whole life. Like I've always said, I don't want to be on the scene. I want to be the scene.
Wait, you've been a FOMO your whole life?
No. Shut up. Homosexual. Listen. Fear of missing out on this dick.
Dick talk.
But I've always felt like I don't want to be on the scene. I want to be the scene.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like if you see me at some industry shit, it's because I really want to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're going to see me at a Black Panther premiere. All right?
Yeah.
Only because I'm going out the country that weekend. So I'm not going to be able to go see it in the theaters when it comes out. So I'm going to one of the premieres.
The week before to one of the things.
Yeah, and I get
It's not a stunt if it's your real life.
Yeah, exactly. And hopefully I get to interview the cast and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
But I want to do that.
Yeah.
I have asked to do that.
Yeah.
Go where your interests are.
Yes.
Yeah.
It feeds you.
Yes.
Right. You're not doing it because it would look good to everybody else. On
No,
It's just
or
like
that's
you
where
should show
everyone
up.
else is going. Or
Yeah.
it's like I'm doing this because it gives me joy. Because I'm interested.
How do people find what gives them joy? I think that we're all pretty blessed in that, and maybe we still have to actively search for it,
Yeah.
but like we found things that give us joy. And even as we evolve in life, we find new things that give us joy. But I bet there's a lot of people out there that don't know what gives them joy, don't know how to find that.
I think it's all about go ahead, Jan, don't cut you off. Go ahead. Well, no, I think even when you do find that joy in something that you love, I think sometimes you can take it for granted. And I think a lot of times it's just always continuously having gratitude for what it is that you love to do. I think sometimes we take it for granted sometimes. We've been doing it so long, it's like, whatever.
So there are people that actually are doing the thing they love. They've just forgotten that they love it.
Oh, absolutely.
They don't appreciate that.
I totally think so.
I think I can't speak for anybody else. I think for me, it's about figuring out who I am. That's been my process. And for me, it came from a surrender moment. And from there, it has been a 10-year journey or so since. And I think that's where I started to just sort of whittle away piece by piece. I'm the person that, like, I'm hard-headed. They told me for years, don't touch the iron. And then when I was 4, I walked into the iron and just laid my hand on it and got 3-degree burns. Like, I'm that person. So I'm the person that, like, I need to figure out what I'm not in order to figure out who I am. And that's been a journey for me. But at the end of that was joy.
So seek self.
Mm-hmm.
And when you understand self, you understand what you want.
The
to
whole
do
world
and
moves for you. It's a cheat code. Like, it really does. The world changes and it opens up because you present everything is energy.
Yeah.
Every single thing is energy.
Yeah.
And when your energy is aligned with who you are and what you're supposed to be doing, and you're tapped in the alchemists, they call it the soul of the world. But when you are genuinely on your path, things move.
I
before
totally
you
agree.
get there.
I just feel like self constantly changes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that we have to be okay with it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, I think we as human beings don't realize that who we think we are constantly changes. And if you're just holding on to what you're comfortable being, you're not doing yourself no favors.
Yeah.
You're actually doing yourself a disservice.
Yeah. And depending on how successful you get, and that's how you end up with people who are doing what they love, but you get trapped by it. Mm-hmm. I know people who are world renowned and have made millions of dollars, and they're miserable because they're trapped by what they built. It's what was protection can become a cage, and you can't then.
You see this often with actors who, like, play an iconic role and then all of a sudden become fit that role.
Urkel.
Did y'all see Top 5?
Urkel, fucking
JJ Walker.
Yeah.
Yo, JJ. No, think about
JJ.
What about Ari Piven? Or what is it?
Jeremy Piven.
Jeremy Piven
Ari
became
Gold.
Ari Gold. Like he's Andrew Dice Clay.
I'm very cognizant about that. I saw Jaleel White on the plane.
Yeah.
And literally started to yell out, Urkel! But I just knew that would be disrespectful,
Right.
just to him as a man.
Yeah.
Like, nigga, that
as
was
a
20 years
human
ago.
being.
Like, you know what I mean?
Did you see Top 5?
Yeah.
Chris Rock's movie. That's the whole running joke.
Hamster.
Hammy the Bear.
Hammy the Bear.
You know, it's like once you become known, that is what the world wants of you, but that doesn't mean that's who you are.
But some of these people fall into it because it's easier. It's almost like a girl who does like that stupid voice that come, you know how like, hi, I'd like to, hey, that like vocal fry thing that the young girls do, right? I feel like they are going.
I think you talk to more young girls than I do.
That's a fact.
You're going to learn the hard way.
All right.
Andrew,
Time's up on you old hoes. We're going to talk about Aziz. We're going to talk about Aziz. But my point is, I think that they're feeding into an idea. They're feeding into an idea of what they think a girl should sound like or whatever like that. Like a lot of these girls are copying the way the Kardashians kind of talk.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, oh, this is how girls talk because I should talk that way. You don't have to talk that way. You can talk however the fuck you want to. Or however your voice developed from the people around you.
Do you say that to them?
No, I don't think I've had that conversation with them. But if I know if the voice is that annoying, I'll just be like, I don't know if this is a genuine way of speaking.
Say that.
Yeah. I think if there was something that I really like loved and cherished about that person outside of their voice, I would bring that up. I've had this conversation not with voices, but with people in general. Like I just value genuine.
Oh yeah,
shit.
when you don't care enough, it's like I'm not gonna correct her. On
Exactly. Like I don't need to fix your life for what?
Suck this dick. Keep it
Yeah,
moving.
let's go. Suck this dick. You know what I mean? Hashtag men too. You know what I mean? Men need to get our dick sucked. That's men too. That's the new hashtag.
Come
over
not
here.
involved in
Come
this
over here and
at
drink
all.
this wine like I ain't gonna get my dick
Listen,
sucked.
Speaking of somebody
You know
who
what I
won't
mean?
give it up, he's not giving up that triangle offense, baby. Andrew showed.
Hey man,
Andrew gonna run that triangle.
2018, we hard on these hoes again.
Wow, not him, not me.
2018,
Not me.
we
I've
hard on
I've
these hoes
surrendered.
again.
Not me.
Don't PC to God me right now, bro. It's PC to God, bro.
Not me.
Used
Listen,
to be hard
Good
on
luck
these
on
hoes.
that, Andrew.
Not women.
But
You're
think-
not
but-
hoe.
but-
I'm
but
not
think-
talking
but
to you. I'm
think-
just talking about these hoes. Let's talk about Aziz.
But everything,
Let's talk about this girl.
a lot of things changed that though. It's not even just the Time's Up Me Too movement. It's just like, yo, I got daughters.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? My perspective has changed a lot.
My perspective changed a lot since this motherfucking Aziz Ansari story. Can we just acknowledge one thing about this Aziz Ansari
Hold on,
story?
let Jasper finish the thought real
All
quick.
right,
What was yours?
I wish more people approached it like you. Whenever people are questioning about what you believe and what's wrong and what's right, etc., I'm always wondering, but if your daughter or if your sister or if your mother told you this exact same story, would it make you uncomfortable? Would you... Paul Savino, I think, has the litmus test reaction for what happened. When TMZ caught up with him, and he's Mira Savino's father, and asked him about the whole Weinstein thing and, you know, about her being blacklisted, he said, if I see that motherfucker, I'm going to kill him.
Respect.
That's his daughter. That's his little girl. So, you know, every time that dudes are like, oh, this is bullshit and I don't believe her. If your sister, if your daughter, if your mother came to you and told you that exact same story that happened to them, is there a part of you in your gut that's going to say, yo, I want to kill that motherfucker? If it is, then show that same humanity to that same woman telling
If
that
my
story.
daughter sucked a dude's dick and then said he wasn't picking up on my cues that I wasn't interested, I'd be like, bitch, you got to figure your cues out. Because
You
your
don't have a
cues
daughter.
are off. Because there's something about me
That you
being a man. I don't know.
knowingly take care
I don't know
of.
about you, but there's something about me being a man. When a girl's giving me head, I know this might be crazy, but in that moment, I kind of feel like she wants to hook up. In the moment as she's bobbing up and down on my dick, I'm under the impression that she wants to hook up. And if she feels that there's a cue that she's giving that's otherwise while she gives me head, she must also be empathetic and go, I can see how my actions would make somebody feel that way. I don't deny that this girl did feel uncomfortable in that environment. I do also feel that Aziz did not pick up on that because of her actions.
Hold on, before we conflate two different issues.
Weinstein and Aziz are mad different.
Yeah. What Jazz was talking about was the whole Me Too, Time's Up movement and just women saying sexual harassment. You're talking about a specific case, which is the Aziz and this young woman situation.
There are so many douchebag, creepy motherfuckers out there, and we're not even talking about the sociopaths and psychopaths like Weinstein. We're talking about dudes that just massage you for no fucking reason at work. And I'm not cool with it at all. And these dudes gotta go. Yeah. Let's go. Let's talk about it. But there is a problem with this Aziz story. And I'll tell you what hurts me the most about it is that the inception of Me Too was there were men in power that were abusing their power and ruining women's lives. And now you have a situation where women have immense power. Women with one accusation can destroy a man's life.
Court of public opinion.
With a single accusation with
it's worse than the court of law.
No trial, no investigation,
no due process.
With an accusation, everything that man has worked for his entire life is gone.
Your reputation. You got to guard your reputation with your life.
It's gone. Now, women are using that power, and now they're abusing it. How quickly we become the people we hate. And when I say all women, I'm not talking about just this girl in this story with Aziz Ansari. I'm talking about every girl who retweeted the story, every girl who backed up the story, every girl who made this story a big global issue. You are just as much of the problem as her, because what you're doing is women for the first time in history have a massive microphone, and people are listening to your stories and they're hearing your stories. And they're taking them seriously and having empathy for them. And what you're doing with a story like this is you're turning down your volume. You're going.
But once again, you can't conflate the two issues. Like I feel like, and that's what we talked about in the group chat yesterday. Things have to be judged on a case by case basis. This Aziz story with this young lady is a separate case, I think, than a lot of the other things that are going on.
But when it's under the Me Too umbrella, you know who wins? Harvey. Harvey read this story and he goes, "Oh, I'm out of here. 5 years, I'll be making movies again." Harvey Weinstein. When Me Too becomes...
No, Harvey read that story and said, "That's not sexual assault. You better go look at my transcript." Right?
Did he jerk off in a tree?
He just jerk
off in a tree at least?
I think I hear you. I think I see it differently. I think we're on a...
I want to hear your perspective.
As you should. She's a woman.
Thanks. you saw him double down on that shit. Wait, hold on. Schultz wants to hear your perspective. I also want to hear your perspective.
But I think we're at. It does all fall under the same conversation, but it is a different conversation. I think we're on the precipice of actual real change that we need, and thank God, because as a woman in this industry, like, we really do need this change.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But I think that the Aziz story is pointing out how little we really understand about what consent is, about the difference between sexual assault and harassment, and possibly and well definitely where the confines of rape are, and like we need more education.
Yeah.
And I think that the first way to not learn something is to decide what it is or isn't before you understand it.
But that's the problem with the Aziz thing. I really don't know what that was. I'm reading it and I'm like,
completely and utterly honest. Me either.
I don't get. I'm like sexual assault. Know. He started off eating her out.
But wait,
like it was one part where he said to her.
Can we go back even early? Sorry, go.
But no, it was one part where it was like they was in front of the mirror and she said like, "This isn't comfortable for me," and he goes, "Well, if it's not comfortable for you, then it's not comfortable for either one of us." And then she was like, "Can we stop?" And he was like, "Yeah." And they got dressed and watched Seinfeld. Like, isn't that what you're supposed to do?
Yes. And real quick, even before that, this is where I knew giant red flag for me in this story. Early in the story, she goes, "We first went to his apartment. We had some wine. It was white wine.
I wanted red.
I prefer red."
That's not my fault. I didn't know that.
So the reason why she pointed that out.
Let me just point this out. How are we supposed to believe that you vocalized clearly that you were uncomfortable with Aziz's sexual advances if you couldn't vocalize clearly what type of fucking wine you wanted?
Maybe she did, though. She never said she didn't. But by the way, that's not even... I get what you're saying, but I don't even know why she put that in the story.
Because she's an ego fucking maniac.
I'm going to tell you why. I'll tell you why. What she just showed up front was that the power dynamic was already set from the moment that she got there. It
That's
didn't
not a
matter.
power dynamic, though, Jeff. I just don't have no red wine.
This is perspective. You,
They weren't-
this is
so
perspective,
even-
Jazz. I think you see it as demonstration of a power
I
dynamic.
see it as
Yeah.
I want to finish.
Yeah, no, absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, so it's the power dynamic in that the wine situation happened at the party they were at. So there was a choice of different types of wines. He ordered for her. He literally didn't. He never asked her. He said, "Yo, we're gonna have XYZ," and bought a bottle.
Oh, he's a
so
rookie.
from his perspective, coming into this evening I'm driving here, and she's sort of along for the ride, which she was. So that's why that
It was
was
at
important.
his apartment. It wasn't at a party. They started at the apartment.
They started at something and then
It was a
walked back
party,
to
yeah,
his
because she said
apartment.
that they even went out to eat, and she was upset about that he rushed to pay the bill.
Well, it started out at the apartment, then they went out to eat,
bought a
and
bottle
then
of
they came back
wine.
to the apartment.
All of that was before they got to
the
the
dinner was
apartment.
before.
And so she's setting the scene.
My understanding is it starts at the apartment, they go to eat, and then they come back to the apartment. I don't think there was a party.
No. It was. I know about the party. It was definitely dinner.
Chris, could you look that up?
beforehand.
If only there was Google.
Well, Chris has
Because
it. He's gonna look it up.
she said he rushed through paying
Right.
the
Yeah,
bill
it starts
to get
at-
back to the
But
apartment.
the wine thing happened before the apartment. What she's showing is that he was driving from the very beginning, that it wasn't about what her interests were.
And do you think that it would be possible for a grown woman, not an infant, a woman that we can send to war to protect our country, a woman that could be president, a woman that can vote, to just say, I wouldn't like that wine.
So here's what's really interesting.
Thank
the
you.
wine thing was
so
at the
there's no
apartment.
party. So they met
it was
at
dinner, though.
No. Let me explain the timeline. I'll explain the timeline.
It
Let me
was
just
dinner, though.
clarify the timeline to everybody listening. They met at a
if Andrew
golden.
finds out he's right about one thing, he's gonna run with it. Now it's his
Will
story.
we ever get to talk again?
So they. I just want everybody to know the storyline
Okay.
because it's important, right?
Okay.
So they met at some kind of event party
At the
right?
Emmys.
At the Emmys, yeah.
Emmys after
She
party.
was somebody else's date, by the way, and then she gave him her number. Okay. Then he texts her. They meet up at his apartment the night of the date. They have a glass of wine there. Then they go from his apartment to this restaurant.
Is that true?
Yes.
So they
Trust
went to
me.
the apartment, did not to eat.
How many times I gotta say it?
Where
Okay.
did he buy a bottle of wine?
At the restaurant as well. There was an existing
Okay.
bottle of wine at the apartment. Then there was another bottle of wine at the
Why
at
didn't
the
he just
restaurant.
order Uber Eats? Why would you leave the apartment? I'm serious. Like, all jokes aside, like this is why it makes. I'm like, what? Why would you? All jokes aside,
That's the part
Well,
that
no.
you're hung up.
No,
That's where you're
kind of
like,
weirdo
what
is
the
he?
fuck
You
are you
have to
doing,
understand,
Aziz?
This
What?
whole story is really about this girl's ego. This girl thought because she and Aziz Ansari both had the same fucking camera that meant she was going to be Aziz's boyfriend or girlfriend. She thought that they were going to be she thought that she was going to be in a relationship with one of the most famous and successful men on the planet because they had a fucking Pentax in common, okay?
She was halfway right.
Then she found out that she was just a fuck for the night midway through the meal when he asked for the check and there was still shit on her plate. And in that point in time,
oh, so he fucked her, then took her out to eat.
son, I'm not going to tell the story again.
I didn't hear that
I ain't
part.
gonna tell
you
it
said they
again.
was at the apartment. So is
Starts at the apartment. This is a classic guy move. Get you comfortable with my apartment early so I could bring you back there and it's not an uncomfortable environment for me. You've already been there. This is
so you
101.
fucked her there.
No, he didn't fuck her. He just brought her there.
Okay, so all right, okay.
Brings her there, has a glass of wine.
Boom.
I know dating is foreign for you.
Yes, it is.
Let me explain.
'Cause in
how
my
this
day,
works.
you would get the meal first, then go get some pussy.
Hey, listen, if you try to eat, I need my dick sucked minimum. I need some return on investment.
I'm like, what? Okay.
No, so he starts at the apartment, has a
All
glass
right.
of wine, then goes out to dinner, takes her out to dinner. They also have wine at dinner. They don't finish the bottle of wine, and he orders the check to get back to the crib. At this moment in time, Shorty realizes, oh, he's just going to fuck me. And like she says in the article, he's just like every other guy, right?
Which is a telltale sign, by the way.
About
when a
how
woman
she
says
feels.
that, when a woman says that, first of all, don't lump me in with all the other guys you've dealt with, because I don't know what these other guys have done with you.
They're also bored by you and want to get done with this dinner. Listen,
So,
if you're
okay.
a boring person, you're at
Okay.
dinner and you're boring somebody, let's get the check. Let me go get some head.
Let me
and we
just,
out. Yeah.
because I don't want to. I don't agree with you, and I want to be really clear that I don't agree with you. I think I will say from jump, I don't really know what to classify the Aziz thing as. I don't, and so, but that's also what leads me to believe that we need to have better education so that we have better understanding about what these issues are. Because, like, I don't I don't know what that was, but I do know.
What confuses you? Because you do know certain sexual assaults, right? You are aware of
absolutely, but at a certain point, the lines get blurred.
So
at a certain point, it becomes okay. What do we classify that as, and how do you then do better?
So tell me what was confusing. So
here's the part where I'm clear on.
Right.
And this is something that I personally, I'm a fairly confident person,
Mm-hmm.
and what I have come to realize just in dealing with different types of people is that there isn't an inner confidence that is instilled in a lot of women when they're younger as girls. And what happens is that they don't always feel empowered to speak up for themselves because that hasn't been instilled in them. And so there really genuinely are people, and also this is true for some men as well, but I think the dynamic is different when you're dealing with a man and a woman, that she may not necessarily feel empowered to say, no, I don't want to do this, stop. But she's saying it in other ways.
By giving
which we've had this conversation on
by
this
giving him head. But listen, that's how she says no.
We've had this conversation on the podcast.
Can we acknowledge
so
that?
much.
How that's misleading to a man? If you start sucking my dick, I might think that you. But
this is even. But I'm gonna tell you what's even scarier. What's scarier is the woman having what I thought was consensual sex with me, but then going home later and feeling like I did something I wasn't supposed to do. And that shit is scary.
And this is what I said earlier. I believe her when she says that she felt uncomfortable there.
Clearly, because he texted her the next day and she responded
exactly. But what I also believe is that because of her actions, Aziz did not know that she felt uncomfortable. Not true. And one of those actions would be sucking his dick.
Well, no.
So here's a thing that I think that we need to bring back. And I really believe that we need to bring this back because I feel like...
Before you say that, can we get... Because honestly, I read this the morning it came out and I haven't read it since.
He knew she felt uncomfortable. That's why he stopped. Like, that's all
he
in the article.
He acknowledged it. And then after that moment of discomfort, she started sucking his dick.
But,
wait, okay.
Chris, I know the story and you're not...
He's reading it, though. Chris reading it.
Say the story, because watch when you come over here. No. Keep that same energy when you come over here. Let's go. Keep that same energy when you come over here.
Read the story.
Son, I know the
we
story
need a
back
fact
and
checker.
forth.
The guy with glasses in the room has to be a fact checker.
I can recite this like the national anthem, son. Let's go.
That's awkward. Why?
Because it's hashtag men too.
Oh, say R.A.P.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry. I'm trying
Listen,
Yo, Dwayne, what's up with that?
To my agents and my manager, I just want I want to be really clear.
Oh my God, this guy a legend.
So what happened, Chris?
Break down the timeline.
I mean, so you got the timeline right, but the part you're not addressing, you know, like a lot of this is semantics. They did have oral sex, but she said after that, she told him she wasn't comfortable. He kept putting her hand on him. She moved it away. She tried to move around the apartment. He followed her around the apartment. She went to the bathroom to try to compose herself. She came out and said something to the effect of like, I'd be comfortable having sex on the second date. Then he poured her a glass of wine. I was like, okay, is it the second date now?
He goes, would a glass of wine make it a second?
Count as a second date. And she said she would move around the room. He would kind of follow her and cut her off and put her hand back, his hand back over her hand back on him. And she made it clear she wasn't comfortable. And he said the right thing. He was like, okay, it's only fun if it's fun for both of us. But then he couldn't chill. He was too worked up, and he wanted the sex that night.
Son,
you gotta jerk off first, guys.
He's pressing
give me the computer.
her.
I'm going to read.
Go ahead, what'd you say, Jazz?
Can I just say one thing that I want to... You heard what Chris's, like, fucking social justice warrior bias was with that. I'm going to read her words. Your words, her words don't even do justice to what you said. I'm going to read exactly. This is exactly what she said. But go.
I don't know what name. What'd you say, Jazz?
Let's read exactly what she said.
What'd she say?
Okay,
I thought you just read that, Chris.
Yeah. I think it's a different
The moral of the story is, I'm going to tell you what my
Uh,
dad used to tell me. A man with a hard penis is a hard man to stop. You got to jerk off sometimes, fellas. Jerk off beforehand so you're thinking with a level head.
I think it sounds really like he was pressing her, and I don't know this young woman, but I know that even I've been in situations where I'm like, yo, you got to back up. But, telling someone, yo, you have to back up is only as... it's only going to work if you have that power to back that person up. And it doesn't sound like she did. And that's again, if this is your daughter telling you that story, if this is your sister telling you that story, it's uncomfortable. And she has a right to feel uncomfortable. And I'm not saying that, as a guy, you guys don't have a right to also feel uncomfortable right now and unsure of what's happening and what you can and cannot do. But I do know that you can't lead with, oh, that person's wrong. Oh, that girl is lying, or that is not a real issue, or that's not really happening.
I agree with you, but people have to stop. People have to stop leading with, now Aziz is a creep, Aziz is a rapist, Aziz is a sexual assaulter.
It is happening. That's the fucking thing of the article.
Absolutely.
Listen, so real quick, why can't we say, after looking at this and analyzing this and thinking objectively about this, we think that the way that she is demonstrating sexual assault in this story isn't accurate. Why can't we make an educated decision on it? Why can we only
You're doing this in a vacuum.
Why can we only make an educated decision for sexual assault and not against it?
I never said that. I never said that at all. What I'm saying here is that the lines are it's not always clear cut. And even the fact that we have been talking about this one issue for 10, 15 minutes now, it shows how dynamic it is and how complicated it is. And I think we're in that point where if we genuinely want to see change, there are things in there that both of those people could have done differently. But I think also in order to teach people how to do things differently, you have to understand how it went wrong. And we have to have dialogue for that. And I think that the moment you start with, oh no, this girl is only, I think The Atlantic called it revenge porn or something like that.
Oh yeah, Caitlin Flanagan, great article.
Or you say, Aziz did XYZ, you stop talking, and then you're just talking at one another. You're just yelling at one another.
You know why we feel bad? You know why men feel bad about this situation? Because we've all been there.
Yeah,
we've all been the guy that,
I get it.
Let me put the tip in, or I just ate you out and we naked. Like, damn, we really ain't gonna fuck. Like, we've all been there. Mm-hmm. Like, what Aziz did is regular men shit.
So Grace says she spent about 5 minutes in the bathroom collecting herself in the mirror and splashing herself with water. Then she went back to Ansari. He asked her if she was okay. I said, I don't want to feel forced because then I'll hate you, and I'd rather not hate you, she said. She told Babe, which is the blog or whatever, that at first she was happy with how he reacted. He said, of course. It's only fun if we're both having fun. The response was technically very sweet and acknowledging the fact that I was very uncomfortable. Verbally, in that moment, he acknowledged that I needed to take it slow. Then he said, let's chill over here on the couch. This moment is particularly significant for Grace because she thought that would be the end of the sexual encounter. Her remark about not wanting to feel forced had added a verbal component to the cues that she was trying to give him about her discomfort. When she sat down on the floor next to Ansari, who sat on the couch, she thought he might rub her back and play with her hair. Okay? Something to calm her down. Ansari then instructed her to turn around.
Not a bad move, though.
He sat back and pointed to his penis and motioned for me to go down on him. And I did. Wah, 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 wah. Red flag. I think I just felt really pressured. Yeah, that's a lot of pressure. A point at the dick? Oh, how could you possibly say no to a point towards your dick?
Here's the thing.
It was literally the most unexpected thing I thought would happen at the moment because I told him I was uncomfortable.
Like, you're not... All right.
Look, the point I'm trying to say is this. Ladies, there's this thing, and I want you all to listen closely, and it's called I'm Gonna Go. And this is what mature and intelligent women do when they're in an uncomfortable situation. They've been doing it for years. They say, I'm going to go, and they leave. The other day, I went on a date with a very beautiful and
I'm sure she said, I'm going to go very early
woman.
On.
And she said, yeah. That's a good joke. And we hung out, and it was for like 8 hours, and we had a great conversation, and we were in an Uber. We were going back towards my house, and I asked her if she wanted to come upstairs. And you know what she said? You know what? If we go upstairs, you're going to want to have sex. I don't want to have sex, and it's just going to be an uncomfortable thing. I'm going to go home. And I said, you know what? I really respect you for saying that, because coming up after this long date could lead me to think that you would want to have sex with me as well. And I would probably, try to have sex until you said no, that you didn't. You just
told her all of that?
Actually, we had a great conversation about it. Matter of fact, I just hung out with her last night, and she came over and she said, hey, I'm coming over, but I don't want to have sex with you or anything. I just want to hang out. And I said, and I had the decision to say yes
I gave
or
her
no.
a nonverbal cue and just hung up.
Oh my God.
But I said absolutely. I said, hey, yeah, come over. That'd be fun. So and we had a great conversation about this very topic. Matter of fact,
But that's real though.
But
the boundary was set from the beginning. I'm coming over.
You see what a mature, intelligent woman does.
But did you accept that though? Did you as a man say, okay? Did you jerk off beforehand?
I jerked off while she was there. No. No. So Louis.
This guy ain't crazy.
So look, so comedians. So comedians. Hello. So I guess the point that I'm trying to say is I'm going to go is a powerful thing. And this is something that I want ladies to know. When you go to a restaurant, a waiter is going to come up to you in that restaurant. He's going to ask you if you like something to eat. And you can say in that restaurant, yeah, I'm still looking at the menu. I'm not ready yet, just yet. And a few minutes later, he's going to come back and say, hey, you ready to order yet? You're like, no, I don't really want to order anything yet. And a few minutes later, you're going to come back and go, you want some food? Can I get you something? And you're going, no. As long as you're in the restaurant, he's going to ask you if you want something to eat. And if you don't want to be asked to eat something, leave the restaurant. Hit yourself with I'm going to go. Because being in the restaurant makes the waiter think that you might want some food.
Listen, I understand everything Andrew's saying, but the reason I need to hear from Jazz is because that shit Andrew is saying is the shit that I grew up believing, but that's the shit that's getting men fucked up now. So how do we avoid that? Why is it not so easy for a woman to do that, Jess?
I think, well, one, it's also, why did you get dressed and come out of your house? Why did you say yes to this? What are your expectations? Mm-hmm. We're not taking into account the Aziz Ansari of it. And the reality is, she said from jump, she was, there's Aziz Ansari. She's already interested because he's Aziz. She was probably expecting a deeper connection. Again, it's the camera of it. It's we have similar interests. We may be, compatible in some way.
And Aziz plays that male feminist role.
Yeah. And that he is safer in a way.
That's why she said all you guys are all the same.
Yeah, that she had different expectations going into it. And I think that part of it played a lot into why she stayed in the room, because she was hoping that she could get back to that. Ooh. I'm not saying that's right or wrong, but I'm saying that it's about the expectation. That's probably what brought her out of her house then brought her into his world, in that she was entrusting herself to him. And as he started to press her, it started to chip away at that trust, but I don't think that it broke it. She kept giving him the benefit of the doubt. And I think that that's where things get really, and I'm third, fourth person armchair quarterbacking it, because, I don't know any more than what you, and I definitely don't know as much as you do about it. But, it kind of seems like that's what it was. It was the expectation and the trust, because this is Aziz.
You made me think about something when you talked about expectation, because we talked about the reality show scripted thing, or Duck Dynasty, and how people's expectations were low because they thought it was a reality show, but it ended up being like something scripted. So they was like, oh, so with Aziz, it's like
you believe the character.
You believe the character. He's a male feminist. He's a nice guy. So maybe him exhibiting regular, and I don't even want to say it's regular because it is regular. Him exhibiting regular man behavior, right? Being a thirsty motherfucker who got this woman in his house and like, oh, I'm gonna keep trying to fuck, whatever. That probably blew her mind. She couldn't believe that it was him doing that.
But back that up. So when you are famous, that means that people know you before you know them. That means that you have a natural trust that you've built with them that supersedes you walking into the room. Yep. That's power. So automatically you have the upper hand in this situation because they automatically trust you. She got
They
dressed
have an expectation for you, but that expectation might not be fair. They're making that expectation incorrectly.
Fair or not, she left her house and went to his.
So she has to be accountable for that action. At
At
what point do we treat women like adults? That's just what I'm trying to say. I understand it's more convenient to treat women like children because now you're not accountable for any of your actions, and anything that happens to you, you're always the victim. But if you actually respect women, at least in my personal opinion, you would treat them like adults.
But we can't conflate the two issues because, like you said earlier, there are creeps out this month.
Yeah.
So, and I want them
there's
gone.
Sexual predators
I
out
want
this
them
motherfucker.
gone.
So I don't even want what we're. I don't want us to even be mixed in with those motherfuckers.
And that's why that's why I clarify. We're talking about this situation. I'm
So
not talking
just
about
sticking
wine
to
scenes.
this situation, just like you gave advice to women, which that's your advice that you gave to women. Yeah. I would say to men, one, you have to be honest with yourself about why this woman has decided to spend her time with you. What are her expectations? If you know that you just want to fuck, and you met this girl and you're like, oh yeah, this girl is into me, it may be a quote unquote easy fuck for you, but her expectations may be something completely different. And I think that that's where you start to pay attention.
Yeah.
Listen to the things that she's saying. What are the interactions between this? All of these things start before you get in the room.
But isn't that a crazy ego?
I think it's ego to assume that you're getting some pussy.
Yeah,
and I learned that a long time
You're
ago.
the most famous. You're one of the most famous guys in the world. She's a +1, and she thought that she was gonna be your
So now
fucking
you
girlfriend.
just-
I don't want that.
Like the power. You talk about the power dynamic. Why did she? Why would she assume they're gonna be boyfriend?
Somebody's
If
got to be
she-
his girlfriend.
if she is-
what?
Somebody's got to be his girlfriend.
Yeah, is she assuming or putting it on her vision board? Is she speaking it to the universe?
That's
This
all
is
I'm
what I
saying.
want. But I'm talking about as a man, like, I used to use this thing called ginseng stone back in my day, right? And you take it, right? And you, I'm saying,
This guy's
listen,
the wildest
you wet your
phobia.
dick.
That sounds like some Cosby
No,
shit.
you wet the stone. No. It's for you. You wet the stone and then you rub it on the vein of your dick. And
This guy is
like you would have like an
so
erection
wild.
forever, right? And it's like I used to do that sometime, but then I wouldn't get no pussy. So that taught me the lesson of don't have any expectations. Because that shit would, when you don't get no pussy, that shit would burn. You be jacking off for mad long trying to get that motherfucking nut out. So I never assume I'm getting any pussy. I don't have any
Is this
expectations.
the 70s? When was this? Like what? Like
The 90s?
They didn't have
2000s.
concrete roads in Moncks Corner, South Carolina. It was still dirt roads.
Y'all never heard of the
They're rubbing
ginseng stone?
ginseng on their dick.
Y'all heard of the ginseng stone, man?
what is
No.
okay.
You never heard
South
that shit?
Carolina in the early 90s, you just throw some Chinese characters on a package, they go buy that shit and rub it all over their
What?
dick.
Oh, the 7-Eleven stuff?
Yeah, he's buying
Oh my
fucking-
God.
What's that, Puerto Rican fly or what was that?
Spanish fly.
Spanish
No,
fly.
Spanish fly was what Bill Cosby was. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Listen, but all I'm saying is I don't have an expectation when it comes to women. Yo, it's girls out right now that'll tell you they came to my room or whatever and I fell asleep.
Son.
I wasn't trying to fuck. I thought we was just talking.
That's the
I'm
new
the dumb.
shit.
Listen, I'm the dumb dude that you be like, yo, I want to come through. We gonna talk. All right, cool. And we talk.
Yo,
I had a girl tell me one time, I'm not coming over here no more because you don't want to have sex with me. Straight up, and I was like, oh, you want to
For
fuck
you,
me?
Charlamagne. Good for
yo,
you.
Now I fucked her the next time she came over, but I'm saying
so I kicked her in the pussy.
but I'm saying all that to say I had no idea. Like shit like that goes over my head. I'm never expecting pussy.
Bro, I'm with you 100%. And it is a beautiful part of your life. And young bucks out there, I'm telling you, one day you will get to this part of your life where sleep is just as intoxicating as sex. And let me tell
And conversation.
you, conversation is the best because conversation can last more than sex.
Yes.
Sex, I'm gonna give you we're talking about from start to finish, half hour total.
Be honest, Sandra. That's not happening.
Start to finish.
That means oral. That means him doing her doing him.
I buzz you up into the apartment. Son, that's when sex starts. When I buzz you in, I buzz you into the next
that's the
door.
point.
You come
And
up in the
that's the
elevator.
point right
I
now.
give you once I give you that hug when you walk in the door, that's when foreplay starts. I'm gonna squeeze you tight, smell your perfume. That's foreplay. Fuck out of here. So how was your day? That's foreplay.
Listen, we're gonna pay some
I just
bills.
hope the picture they use on your expose is
it's coming.
a good one.
Yo, they gonna do it, baby.
They gonna use this brilliant idiots audio.
Hashtag men too, bro. I'm telling
God.
you, we gotta get hashtag men too started. I'm here fighting for us.
When I come out with my story, about how I got Me Too,
Yes,
that's gonna be the hashtag men too.
Men too, so I'm telling you, we
geez.
gotta start that. Also, yeah, these girls been men tooing me. I had a girl legit rape me.
And if that legitimately happened to you, you should talk about that. I think
she did, but her pussy was good. But it was good. But I said no.
No,
I said no. I said no.
Listen,
I didn't have a condom. I said no. She grabbed my dick. She's fucking Thai. She does Thai boxing or some shit. I could probably take her, but she's a tall girl. And she grabbed my dick and I said no. And then she put it in. She started riding it with a little smirk. Hashtag men too.
Listen, you know why men are so broken?
Saying, bro.
Men are so broken because the sexual assault we have experienced. Like from even when I was a kid. I'm serious. When I was 8 years old and I got molested by my cousin's ex-wife, I didn't look at his molestation.
Right.
As a man, they're like, yo, you the man, son. You
but you're a child.
And then you get old and you realize
It's
that
molestation.
shit was fucked up.
Hashtag men too.
You know what I mean?
Hashtag men too.
And even if you're in a position where you're in an environment where a woman in a position of power in this industry tries to fuck you, you feel like you pussy if you don't
fuck
her.
Son, it's great.
But again, it's the same. It's the power dynamic. That's the exact same thing that you just talked about. That's her going on this date with Aziz. Like, it's power. It's the exact same thing, and it's not exclusive to men or women. Power is power, and when you use it incorrectly, or you don't realize you have it, people can get hurt.
So here's what I'll say. There will always be people with power in the world.
Absolutely.
Just like there will always be hurricanes that hit the Caribbean, right? So do we tell people with power and do we tell hurricanes not to be hurricaney? Or do we tell people in Puerto Rico and other places in the Caribbean how to handle a hurricane, how to build buildings so they're not affected by the hurricane, how to create hatches or whatever below the ground so that they're safe in the event of a hurricane? I think what we're trying to do is protect people by telling the bad guys not to be bad. Bad people are going to be bad. No. Let's set people up like this girl and like Charlemagne, like myself, you know what I mean? Let's set us up with skills so that we can handle the bad guys.
But you got to tell the bad guys not to be bad.
Yeah, I think it's both.
At the end of the day, bad guys going to be bad. That's what bad guys do. It's not like you go naughty bad guy and they go, you're right.
I think, and I'm not an expert on any of this. I think I'm learning it as everybody else is in real time. But I think that it's a combination of educating everyone, men and women, on how to really communicate with one another. And while you're empowering everyone, not just men or women, to speak up for what makes them comfortable and what doesn't. And I think that that's where you start.
I 100% agree. Let's talk about it. Let's have these fucking conversations. Let's empower people. I mean, you guys have daughters, you know?
Yes.
Would you tell your daughters how to deal with these situations, or would you hope that the guy knew how to treat women?
I would hope that the guy knows how to treat women, but both. I agree with Jazz.
Both,
I think
right?
Both.
Meaning you would tell your daughter what the right way to act in this situation is, right? So, in my personal opinion, I want to tell these.
I would tell my daughter, don't be going to this motherfucker's house because he's going to expect you to fuck him.
There we go.
That's honestly what I would tell my daughter. Like, that's, straight up. Like, why are you at this motherfucker's house?
Ladies, don't go to a guy's house to cuddle. It is. I know you don't have air conditioning. I know it's tough for you because you live in a shitty apartment with 3 roommates. But don't get comfy with a guy because he has air conditioning in the summer and take advantage of that. Go back to your shitty apartment and deal with that shit. Don't be cuddling all night and expecting a guy to not think it's true.
I mean, I just feel like we're putting too much blame on the woman, and I don't want to do either. I don't want to put too much blame on the man, too much blame on the woman. I think we're all trying to figure out where is this gray area that we need to be in.
We're in a gray area
we all
with
can.
this.
I don't think we're in the gray area. I think men are getting all the blame.
We getting destroyed.
I do. I
for
really
accusations.
do. Yeah, that's what's bothering me more than anything. The court of public opinion, man. Like, due process. People's reputations are done. Like, are we getting the Master of None season 3?
Son, Akash.
Yeah.
We are?
Akash, bro. He's a new star. You didn't know Akash Singh coming out? Shout out to Akash.
In the meantime, go download Legal Fling. Okay, it's an app that you can download, and while you're with the young lady, you can send her a request for sexual consent.
Get out of here.
I'm dead serious.
What?
It's Legal Fling.
What?
It's an app. So while we're together, I can send you This contract, it's binding. You can DocuSign it, and it's requesting sexual consent.
Yo, that shit is romantic, and that's about to add another 5 minutes to my 30 minutes.
Hey, man.
My foreplay up to 35 minutes now.
Let's pay some bills, and then we come back. We got a couple more things to talk about. I just recently found out something about JasFly that I think people can learn from.
Whoa.
So I think it'd be interesting.
Okay.
If I can get her to tell it, and I'm going to go pee while you pay these bills.
Let's pay some bills because the future is coming, so we got to make it brighter with today's sponsor, Squarespace. Shout out to Squarespace, always holding us down. I really respect Squarespace for this. You know they got beautiful templates created by world-class designers. Squarespace makes it easy to turn your idea into a new and unique website. Showcase your work, blog, or publish content, even sell products and services of all kinds in just a few clicks. Just like BrilliantIdiotsMerch.com, where we are selling merch. You can set up a site to sell your own clothing, sell your own books, sell your own movies, sell your own used underwears. We don't know what you want to sell, but you can do it with Squarespace. You can customize everything from the look and the feel, the settings, the products, and it's all optimized for mobile right out of the box. Use Squarespace's analytics to help you grow in real time. But if you do have a question, Squarespace's award-winning 24/7 customer support is there to help. So head to squarespace.com for a free trial. Did you hear what I said? I said free. Free trial. And when you're ready to launch, use the offer code IDIOT to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Remember, Squarespace is so easy, even an idiot could do it. So our offer code is IDIOT. Get that 10% off. That's squarespace.com. Offer code IDIOT. That's right, I spelled it for you idiots that don't know how to spell idiot. 10% off your first purchase of a new website or domain. A dream is just a great idea that doesn't have a website yet. Make it a reality with Squarespace. And before we get back to the show, I just want to promote a couple things. Right now, something I've been releasing, I'll talk a little bit more about it, but I'm doing 52 weeks of stand-up, so I'm putting a new clip out every single week, either on Instagram, Twitter, my Facebook, of me doing, and YouTube, youtube.com/TheAndrewSchultz, the Brilliant Idiots YouTube page, of me doing stand-up for a week. I'm going to get in every week for a year. I'm going to put a new clip out every week for a year. I started 2 weeks ago. It's going to be my second week. I did it. It's going to be every Sunday. So you can look out for that every Sunday. And I mean, just to get into the genesis of it, honestly, it's like I've created this special. I tried to sell it. I've been told no by everybody. I did a micro special. I did a 15-minute micro special. I put it out there 4 for 1. You guys watched it. Got incredible feedback, great views. I mean, we did more numbers on that than Comedy Central does on one of their like Comedy Central stand-up shows when they air it live. I mean, that was insane. And I thought that would open up some doors. So Netflix started doing micro specials. They're doing 15-minute micro specials. I wonder where they got that idea from. And I submitted, and they passed. And I was like, okay, wow. Well, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to go out there and do it myself. The reason I want these TV deals is not for the money. It's for the exposure. I want people to see my stuff. So I said, you know what? I have people that have been supporting me, following me. And if you want to help me out, you could help expose me. Because nobody is more powerful than people. No network is more powerful than people. So I'm going to put this shit out. And if you like it, if you like the jokes, you enjoy them, share them, tag some people in them, spread the word. And I'm going to do it for a whole fucking year. So let's see what happens with this. I appreciate you guys for supporting me so much, coming out to shows. I do have shows coming up. You can get my shows at theandrewschultz.com. I will be on the road a good amount coming up. I'll be, my next gig, I'll be down in Tampa. I'm going to be doing Tampa, and I'll be there the 22nd to the 25th at the Tampa Bay Improv. Then I'll be doing New Jersey at the Stress Factory, March 15th through 17th. Then I'm going to be in Rochester, New York at the Carlson, the 5th through the 7th of April. Then I'm going to be at Gotham Comedy Club back in New York the 13th and the 14th. I'm going to be headlining that weekend. And then I'm going to be in Nashville June 1st through 3rd at Zanies. And then I'm going to be in July 26th through the 28th. I'll be at the Mohegan Sun. I'm always adding dates to my tours, but come check out my new hour. Thank you guys so much for supporting. Please spread the word. I appreciate you so much. All right, back to the show. Okay, come back. So Jazz is something we can all learn from.
Now, Jazz is from Chicago. All right, there's 3 things you think about when you think about Chicago. You think about people that are very creative.
Yes.
But then you think about criminals.
That's true.
Mobsters.
That's true.
People with criminal records.
That's
JasFly. JasFly, I recently found out, has a criminal record.
What?
I had no idea.
Are you comfortable talking about this?
That was an amazing segue. Yeah, I mean, technically, I'm a convicted felon.
Wow. What? Who'd you shoot? Chicago, baby.
Yo, wait, what'd you do?
This is crazy.
Tell us. Come on.
This is so actually, all right, let's back up. The point where I had my surrender moment, and started to figure out who I actually was. That came. I had a whole career in film and TV. I started as a PA on ER and worked my way up through a ton of commercials and movies and Ali and Barbershop and MTV Real World Chicago, shit like that. And then moved to LA the first time. And it was
Which is a very funny story. Your first job in LA about the
Yes. So wait, you know a part of this story then?
I don't know.
That's that
Well,
story.
catch us up to speed because I don't know.
Oh, sorry.
This is great.
So essentially, I get to LA and I had 2 job options. The first day that I got there, it was either be an associate producer on Night Calls, which was a porn show on Spice Channel, which I turned down, and then I ended up with an unpaid internship for Eric LaSalle, and who I knew from my ER days and everything.
Who was Eric LaSalle for people who don't know? Really?
The Prince of Soul Glow.
Princess Soul Glow.
From Coming to America.
Holy shit! Really, Daryl? Holy shit! Why didn't you know that? All right, you was Daryl's PA.
One day we got to get you to tell us the porn story.
You was Daryl's assistant.
Okay.
It's so good, but okay.
Thank you.
Go on.
Yeah, so I started all over. I worked my way up from intern to office assistant to office manager to executive assistant to CE, and just again started over. I think at that time though, Eric was so big in Black Hollywood, and Black Hollywood was such a. I mean, this is the Will Smith era,
right. Mm-hmm.
And we were sort of plugged into that. We were. When Jamie Foxx used to throw his big ass parties, we were there, but we were working. So we got to see the world and not be in it and sort of be protected from it. Also, though, at that time, I was really young, and I was also I had no idea who I was. I just didn't. And you give a young person that much power and access and just... went crazy with it. But I was also not making very much money. I was making $21,000 a year, which is kind of hard as a functioning adult by yourself. So,
but tough situation, low salary, tons of power.
Yeah.
And those things
absolutely. It's
very hard to balance.
Yep. Especially when you have no idea who the fuck you are.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so the dynamic in the office was it was unhealthy. It was very unhealthy. It was very it was autonomous. This is, one person's company. But also there was this false sense of family, this false sense of this is us. And,
which most of the industry is, by the way.
Yeah, that's why now I don't use the word family. I don't use the word friend lightly. Those things actually come with responsibilities.
Motherfuckers get a Rock Nation hat and think they should be at Blue Ivy's first graduation.
Yeah, and it's that's but yeah, there was this false sense of
tribe.
Yeah, and I think so. Eric and I started falling out because also I was at that point where in our mentorship I should have left, and this was also a lesson of you got to know when it's time to fly, to just and so he and I were sort of battling for control of me. Right around that time, my sister got pregnant, and she was even younger, and this was sort of a what the fuck situation in our family, and I used the company credit card to buy stuff for her pregnancy. And it started out as she needs this, I will get back, whatever. And then it just became too much to pay back because it was, And
what'd you run up?
$4,000.
That's not bad.
That's not bad to you now, but also that was also a quarter of my salary. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a lot of money.
It's different.
And then also coming from the world that I'm from, where my dad for most of my life has filled up his gas tank $10 at a time.
Right.
So like $4,000 might as well be $40,000. Now, was $4,000 a lot of money to Eric? No.
I don't know. He's the Prince of Soul Glow.
Right. But I got fired. And that was the first of the heartbreak. And rightfully so. I should have been fired.
But he pressed charges?
Yeah. And so
that's cold. Now we have to be accountable. You did break the law.
Yes,
you did
and
steal.
I take full responsibility.
But he didn't
for
even ask you why. It's not like you took the money to go buy Tommy Hilfiger or some shit. Like he didn't ask you what were you buying.
I don't. He and I have never had this conversation, so I'm not gonna speak for him. That's not my place to tell.
So you're like the female TK Kirkland.
That's exactly who I am. Yeah.
TK has a similar story.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Okay, he was a thief. TK was a
thief,
full-fledged. I started to say narcoleptic. What's the fucking stealing shit?
Klepto.
Yeah.
Okay, so he pressed the charges, which I might say a lot about him. My parents had a small business, and they've had people steal, like friends of mine that worked with them, and it was always like a learning moment for these people. It wasn't.
Well, yeah, and that's like, the thing where
send you to jail.
I'm not gonna indict him because I take full responsibility for what I did, and that's between him and God. That ain't got shit to do with me. Right. What I will say is that. In hindsight, which is the only way I can look at this, it was the best thing that happened to me. The absolute best thing that happened to me.
Tell him why.
So I get fired. And at that point, I then went to work at MTV for a second and then Nickelodeon. And at that point, I'm totally disenfranchised with Hollywood and fuck everybody who loves it. I want to go home. I want the safety of my family. And I'm going to go home and work for Allstate. And
by the way, only people from Chicago can say they find safety in Chicago. Just want to throw it out. All right.
Yo, fuck you. Chicago is an amazing city. That's
I feel unsafe here. I need to go to a place where I find security.
Safety. I just want to say, and that's one of the reasons why I really am into the Chi, and because it's showing the roundness of Chicago.
Yes,
there's so much there that we have not seen before. And so just know that it's not all just shooting off every corner.
It's a beautiful city. I wouldn't go, but it's a beautiful city, and I think
we don't want you.
I know.
So there you go. So
I was there recently. To be honest, I did shows there, and it's one of my.
You stayed
favorite,
only in the Loop.
No, not in the Loop, but I was in a safer neighborhood. But it's one of my favorite cities. I think it's the most impressive looking city I've ever been to, coming from New York. Like it puts New York skyscrapers to shame.
Well, I'll be there on the 28th at the Harold Washington Cultural Center.
Oh, nice.
Get you some. Right. But not to
nice.
cut you off. Back to your story. Yeah.
So I'm showing my apartment because I'm going to sublet it for the rest of my lease, and it's the end of the day, and I get a knock on the door, and I'm like looking at my list, like I've seen everybody, and it's this white man and woman, and they're like, "Can we talk to you for a second? Show me a badge," and I'm like, "What's going on?" Prior to that, I had a couple of moving violation tickets driving. Like, this is not my world. This is not, who I am. And they explained to me, they're like, do you know who he is? I'm like, yeah, that's my former boss. And it's like, well, he's alleging that you have stolen $20,000.
Yikes.
Whoa.
And I'm like, no, that's not.
Go for.
Well, I knew enough not to say that. Yeah. Shout out to Law and Order.
Yeah, the worst reaction is to go 20.
Yeah, don't do that.
20.
Never do that. Never do that. But I was like, that's not the case. And I'm more like, okay, we're gonna sit down and talk about this. And they're like, no, we need you to turn around. And I'm like, oh,
what?
Wait, what? And so I was arrested. And they took me in for the night, and then the next morning I had to go in front of the judge. And it was a surreal, it's just one of those things where if you know me, you know, and also if you don't know me, you probably have an idea that like I never thought I'd find myself in this situation, but here I was. And it was really interesting because the education started the next day. So when they arrest you, at night, you get a bunk and then the next day you're going to court. But really what that means is you're sitting in just different rooms. Mm-hmm. And I'm in there with women from all walks of life. And I just started talking to them. They started talking to me. And it was the night that I was arrested, there was a girl in there who... They took her out. She was in 3 cells with me. And so by the second cell, I'm like, who is this girl? She clearly was picked up for prostitution. They took her out. And this is several times that she's been picked up. And she comes back in and you can tell she's been bawling and she's laying on the bench. And no one will talk to her. And then finally, someone who knows her, went over and was like, what happened? They have a conversation in the corner. The girl was like, oh, well, fuck you then. So she comes back and she sits next to me. And I'm like, is she okay? Like, does she... need a hug? Like, what's going on? And it's like, nah, this bitch is done. It's like, what does that mean? Well, the girl tested positive for HIV on her last arrest and then was arrested again for prostitution. So now she's being charged with attempted murder. So now she's looking at 10 years versus just a simple prostitution ticket and release. Shit. So now I'm like, oh my God, like here's this girl who's like 19, 20 and not only is she dealing with the fact that she's HIV positive, but also now she's got and also something going on in her life that she's a prostitute. Now she's going to go to jail, to prison. And like, there were so many layers on it. So in my mind, I'm like, I just felt for this girl. And they were like, yo, fuck her. That's the girl that set up Romeo Santana to be killed.
What?
The dude from Steve Harvey's show, Romeo. Yeah. He had been killed like a couple years before. She was the one who set him up.
The prostitute with HIV.
Yeah, wow. Like it was shit like that where I just realized I just dry snitched on this girl. So
I mean, nobody knows who she is.
Thank God.
She's dead now.
Yeah, she does.
My God.
All right. Based off the circumstances you've described to me, I doubt she could afford good health care.
I wish you the best luck wherever you are. But it became a thing that I was dealing with in my life but it was so interesting because it was so eye-opening in so many different ways. I bonded out the next day and then my apartment was already up for lease. Like I had to move home, but also I was flying back and forth for a year and a half to make every court case.
Date, yeah. So from LA to Chicago? Okay. Yeah,
what little savings I had went to the private attorney. When that was over, I ended up with a public defender. And the public defender from jump was like, take a deal. Take a deal. Because you're facing 3 years and you do admit that you are guilty of some of it. So take a deal. And what it came down to it for me was my grandmother. My grandmother's my mom. She raised me. And at that point, she was 86, 87. And she lived in Chicago. She can't get on a plane and come see me. I don't want to go to jail and miss the end of my mother's life. Yeah. And so the deal was 90 days in Linwood County Correctional. And then 3 years probation. And at the time that I turned myself in, I had to, and this is the last time I saw, no, it's the second to last time I saw Eric. When I turned myself in, I had to present a check for $2,000, which again, at that point might as well been $2 million. Because I'm just not from a world where we have $2,000.
Did you save the money up?
Well, so they gave me 3 months.
Okay.
Again, we're not from like me. If I had literally saved all of my money, because at that point I think I was temping
now
and making $300 a week. To
yourself, well, there's one less prostitute on the street now.
Don't do it.
What? You just told me the girl has AIDS. She can't be out there proing. Now there's a slot open.
Remember, he's a comedian, Jazz.
I'm
That
just
was a
saying,
bad
you need
joke.
$2,000. You need $2,000 in 3 months.
Use comedian loosely.
There's a slot open on the bench.
You also I also just want to
Listen, shows goes for it.
I know, and I respect it. I get it. Better aim though, but I think
I ain't saying I'm Curry. You know what I mean? I'm Rondo.
But I do want to be
throw
very
some
clear.
bricks.
This is a different version of me. This is me 111 pounds ago. This is me completely. I didn't know who I was.
Right.
Like the weight of $2,000, and the difference is if I didn't have the $2,000 by turning in, that I had to serve the whole 120 days or something like that. I can't remember the thing.
So how do you get $2,000 in 3 months?
So I go home. That's the thing. So I go home back to my working class family in Evanston, Illinois, and my family knows, shit, where do we come up with this money? And everyone keeps saying, like, I don't know, but I'm gonna pray for you. I don't know, but I'm gonna pray for you. Like, and to the point
Chicago,
to where
go get a gun and rob a check cashing place.
Yo.
The fuck is up, man?
Yo. So, I'm like, it got to the point to where I was like, yo, fuck y'all and y'all's prayers. Like, no, I don't need you to pray for me. I need somebody to, cut me a check.
Did you have faith at this time?
So at that point, like, my dad's a minister. I was raised in church.
Yeah.
But
collection plate that shit.
Well, so I even went to my church and was like, I need to come up with this money, and they're like,
we're gonna pray for you.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, like, it's
Yeah.
And so finally, I had a conversation with my dad, just like on some real shit. And I'm like, this praying for me stuff is actually not going to help me.
Yeah.
And he goes, yeah, because you ain't praying. Everybody's praying for you. You're not. So
bars. That's why ministers get all the pussy, yo. I swear to God, that's bars,
I'm telling you, how can I not fuck you?
I almost gave up some pussy to your dad for that
Like,
shit.
for real, how can I not fuck you
I
up for
literally
that?
was like, here you go, dad.
Even if I'm not expecting the pussy as a minister, like, I got an offering for you, right? Like, yeah, please.
Hey, that was hot. I see what you did right there, God guy.
And
seeing that. That was good.
Guy. Yo, this is probably the worst decision of my life. But,
I would say the worst.
So you at the church. He said nobody's praying for you. You're praying for yourself. You said you gotta pray for yourself.
The next morning, when I got up, I just said this prayer, and I just sort of ad hoc'd it. And then the next morning, I said the same prayer, and the next morning, I said the same prayer.
You're like, please, God, make us Jewish. So that we would have enough money to pay for these legal fees and a lawyer in the family that we could use.
Yo, that so yeah, 2 weeks before I'm supposed to go back, one of my best friends growing up comes to me and she goes, I got an idea. I applied for this credit card. I can get a cash advance. I got my $2,000 24 hours before I was supposed to leave.
Holy shit.
So get back to LA. So total buzzer beater. Turn it in. Turn myself in. I'm preparing to serve 90 days. My lawyer, my public defender is saying it's your first offense. It's a nonviolent crime. We're estimating at this point you'll probably do about 30 days. I had a job offer back in Chicago. I told them that I was having a surgery that I could be vague about and that I needed to be out for 30 days. But if I could get out and back home in 30 days, I could have a life, essentially. So I'm just praying, like, okay, I'll be gone a month. I don't know how I'm going to do a month in jail, but I'm going to do a month in jail, whatever it is. And also just like Linwood County Jail is not like it's a jail. Like it's not like it's where Paris Hilton went. I was not going to the wing Paris Hilton was going to.
Gotcha.
But they say that jails are actually a lot of times more dangerous because you don't have the prison.
Yeah,
prison
because
you have the
everybody's
long term.
together.
Exactly. Yeah. And prison, it's like you have felons who have been there. They're going to be there for 20 years.
There's
want
a
you to
lifestyle.
Calm, whereas like county jails, like people are coming in there rowdy, hot.
Yeah, you're just wilding. The night that I was arrested, it became apparent very quickly to just know how to handle yourself in this situation. And so I turn myself in, we go to get on the bus, and again, I'm back to being moved with other inmates, and I'm, having conversations, and we get to Linwood, and it's a big field house, and you walk in and they tell you strip down. So it's a bunch of literally just women face the wall. They're going one by one. You got to squat, you got to cough. They're checking you to make sure you're not bringing anything in, and they give you your clothes, your uniform, and then they assign you to your bunk. I came in at night, so they assigned me to the bunk. The woman on the bottom bunk was detoxing from crack, and so she is shitting herself and throwing up. Cool. So now I get on the top bunk, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go to sleep, and they tell you, get a work detail because it'll make the time go faster. So I'm like, let me just go to sleep, and then I'll wake up when they call for work. Wake up, 5 a.m., they call who wants to work, go downstairs. They're assigning out the jobs based on how long you're going to be there. So if you're going to be there longer, you're in the fields. And then if you're the shortest you're in the kitchen. So everybody's like hoping they assign you in the kitchen because that means that you're going to get out quicker. Well, they get to me and they call Waters, and I'm like, I want to work. They're like, great, you're in the field. And so I asked the officer, I was like, they said that I might be getting out in 30 days. And she looks at it and she says, 90 days, you're in the field. Go back up to your bunk. Go back up. And I climb up on the bunk and I just lose it. Like, I'm really about to be in jail for 3 months. And, I don't think that we really understand what jail is. It's putting a human being in a cage.
Word up.
It's not some glossed over thing. It's not something to be proud of. It's not some badge of honor. It is caging a human being.
Yeah.
And
stripping them of all their rights, all their freedoms.
Absolutely.
Some people need to be caged, though.
I agree.
Some people need to be caged, but you're still caging them.
Yeah.
And the idea of doing 3 months there, again, in an element, you're with the unknown every day. You don't know what you're going to face. It all just sort of hit me. And I get up on my bunk and I'm just bawling. And I didn't know what else to do but talk to God. I couldn't talk to anybody else. I'm isolated.
Perfectly good crackhead on the bottom bunk.
She was not lucid. She's not lucid. She wasn't even hearing what she was not even awake. And so, I just said a prayer. I'm just like, God, I get it. If this is what you want me to do, if this is where you want me to be, then come on, I'm riding with you. And I genuinely just surrendered every single thing. Go to sleep, and my plan now is I'm gonna sleep as much as possible to pass the time. The crackhead has the right idea, and so I go to sleep, and you have those sleeps and you think, oh shit, I woke up, it's 4 or 5 hours. No, it was an hour later, and they start moving you, and they're immediately like, again, I'm back in different cells talking to different women. I met some woman who was picked up on a warrant, a 10-year-old warrant in Atlanta. And the warrant was for Atlanta. No, she was picked up in Atlanta for a LA warrant. It took them 6 months to process her. So she's been in jail for 6 months waiting for LA to come get her.
Sucks.
Finally came and got her. So I'm learning. It was assault, I believe.
Don't break the law, kids.
Once you get trapped in that system, you're trapped for real.
And it was eye-opening to how all-encompassing that system was, and the weight of it, and how unjust it is at times, but also how biased it is. And because all the people in there were black and brown. I saw maybe one white girl who I don't think she's seen a white girl in a very long time. Like, it was so completely just biased. And so they start moving us. I'm being moved to this one room. They pull us out, put us on the yellow tape, and I'm hearing the officers say they're going out. So now I'm like, is there another jail? Like, what's happening? They move us to another cell. Then they move us to another cell. Then we get to another cell, and they come in and hand us a bag with our street clothes in. And I'm like, wait. I put my clothes on, and you can't ask anybody anything. And then they make us wait for like 2 hours, and I'm sitting with my clothes on, confused as what the fuck is happening. They move us again, start signing your release paperwork. And I'm like, wait, okay, like, cool. Move us one more time. Then they walk us out to this door. They open this door. It's literally the garage we rode in on. At the end of the garage is the open door of the street, and they were like, go. I just booked it.
So you did what, 24 hours?
24 hours.
Wow, on a 90-day sentence.
Yo, what's that?
For overcrowding?
Overcrowding. That estimation of 30 days was 1 day.
Wow.
I got out to the street, and in that moment, I was like, all right, God, whatever you want. Let's go.
Real talk. What was that prayer that you ad hoc'd?
It's the same prayer I've said every morning of my life since then.
Yeah, let's hear that one.
It is, thank you for waking me up this morning. Thank you for allowing me to see another day, another opportunity to be better, to do better. I ask that you continue to bless myself and my family, help us to accomplish our goals, come into our hearts and to our minds. It's so... Coming to our into minds.
I've been overthinking my prayers.
Yeah.
I need to tone it down.
No, I mean it's hold on. Let me
get through it, son. This prayer is functional. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, don't be fucking this up for me, dog.
This the set.
Yeah,
this the joke that gets
the
the
hot
crowd
5
crazy.
minutes, exactly. Yeah. give us this kicker in the pussy prayer.
Yo. All right. Heavenly Father, thank you for waking us up this morning. Thank you for allowing us to see another day. Thank you for another opportunity to do better and be better. Thank you for coming into our hearts and to our minds. Bless our lives, dear God. Help us to be honest and to live to our potential. Protect us from anything not of you. In Jesus' name.
What do you think? What do you think God was showing you? Like,
it was the ultimate humility. It was, you have power over nothing. It was, listen to me. Do what I'm telling you to do. Learn to discern my voice over yours. It was, we talk about humility, but it's actually, real humility is just making yourself small so that you can hear God over everything else, including yourself. And that was my aha, that then when I got home 24 hours later, and everyone's like, yo, what the fuck just happened? Life was different. I began to trust God, which then meant that I trusted myself more, which then meant that I knew that I could leap, because even if I fell, I was going to be okay. And continually, God has shown me that over and over and over and over, to the point to where I do make big leaps. I expect miracles, and they come because I expect them. And then when they don't come, the lessons I've learned always lead to what I ultimately need.
Yo, if I was your dad, I would be tight. 'Cause I've been preaching every Sunday. You've been ignoring my shit and took a crackhead to take a dump on themselves for you to believe in God. Come on now.
You know, I feel like we all need those humblings, and the reason we need those humblings is because after you realize it's not about you, and you just go forth in the world, anything bad that happens, you just know it was supposed to happen. Or anything perceived as bad. And I don't necessarily believe in good or bad experiences. I just believe it's part of the process. But the things that happen that aren't to your liking, you just realize, okay, that's part of the process. As opposed to my ego or
you win and you
my
learn.
bad karma.
Yeah, and you start to see the world in a different way. And it helps you prioritize things. And again, it goes back to the more you know yourself and the more you understand yourself.
I think there's something to this that's not only Christian or not only religious.
Yeah, it's not about religion.
Exactly. Like to you, it might be through that lens, like we were talking earlier. Everything's the lens. But to somebody else, it might be daily routine or whatever it is. But like this act in and of itself. Of like submitting yourself, removing ego, removing these things, and humbling yourself is productive. So to people who might have tuned off because they tuned up because they're like a staunch atheist and they don't think they can get anything from religion, it's not the Jesus guy with the beard.
No, that's religion.
That's
man made that.
Yes.
Yeah. And that, listen, I'm a preacher's kid. I'm a PK. I don't go to church. I don't to me personally, I don't subscribe to religion. Religion is a community, which many people need that. There have been times in my life where I still need that, and I'll dip in and dip out. But what I'm talking about is just a connection to your inner self.
That aha moment.
Yeah. That moment where you start to realize, oh, I've been looking at this wrong. Maybe I need to see this in a different way.
And what was the different way? I'm just writing these as notes for me, actually. But
I think for me, it was that realization that first it started off as power. Years later, I learned that it's not about you.
It's not about you.
But also just realizing that, life is so much bigger than the stuff that we think is the biggest thing. Because what happened, every one of those cells, and by the way, I just have to say, I realized like 30 minutes into this, I'm still wearing my retainer, so I don't usually have a lisp. But
first of all, you know who you're doing a show with, right?
I know.
I don't have a retainer, but I have a lisp.
He got no excuse.
But you realize that, if you know who you are, you can talk to anyone. You can understand anyone because you see the humanity in them.
Absolutely.
And when I think about those women that I talked to and those stories and why they trusted me with what was, I did talk to homegirl that was on the bench. We had an hour-long conversation.
AIDS?
We had an hour-long conversation, and she trusted me with her story, and there's a sense of responsibility, and through that, I found my purpose and what I was here for.
Telling stories, right?
There you go.
Wow. Yeah. No, you are very gifted at storytelling.
Jazz is the best.
From that, yeah. So I have a selfish question.
Yeah.
Can you break down, in the most simplest form, the structure of a story? We're sitting with, you're obviously a very skilled storyteller, but I feel like Charlemagne is this brilliant storyteller.
He's an amazing
organically.
storyteller. Yeah.
And my brother also is like this. Shout out to Greg, who's doing very well. A lot of people have been asking, and he's doing great. But like, the both of them can like take information, synthesize it, and when they regurgitate it, it's like structurally broken down. They find the conflict and stuff like that. And sometimes that's rough for me. What is the structure of a story? Just in its most simplest
beginning,
form.
middle, and end, right?
But isn't there like something, conflict, resolution, something?
There is the introduction of, think about it this, use a rom-com because it's the most simple, formulaic. Boy meets girl. Boy loses girl. Boy's got to get girl back.
So boy meets girl. Boy loses. Boy has to get back.
Or it's 2018. Girl meets girl. Girl loses girl. Girl's got to get girl back.
But what about the ending? The ending has to have some type of climax. He
got her back.
You got her back. Oh, okay.
So it is the introduction of the problem, the escalation of the problem, the resolution of the problem.
Now, isn't there like a hope is lost moment or something?
Hope is lost. That's the second act.
You lost the girl.
That's the second act.
Oh, that's lose the girl.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then we follow you on this journey to
get her back. Yeah.
Now, do you think that you're naturally a good storyteller because you've read so much that it just like by osmosis has become part of you? Like
I've never thought about it. I'm honest. I just tell a story.
Well,
I've never thought about it.
He's good at just naturally telling stories, right?
Yeah, he's amazing. He's Charlemagne.
It's fucking impressive, man.
I've never thought about it.
But that's the thing. Like, storytelling is not about structure. It's about connection. It's, can I make you understand what I'm telling you? What I'm, can I draw you in? And that is not about structure. That's about people. That's about energy. That's about vibe. That's about an understanding of what you're telling and also who you're telling it to.
Interesting.
I remember one time, boy, when I got arrested First time I got arrested, I had to write a statement for the police. I made up this whole lie.
Oh my God.
How I was hitchhiking and I got picked up by these guys in this car, and then they shot at these dudes. And they told me if I said anything, they was gonna kill me. And I had these police officers on a wild goose chase for 24 hours looking for some shit that did not exist.
See? Storytelling can help you out, kids.
Didn't help me out in that moment because when they found out that I was lying,
It
it was
was
like,
hell to
oh man.
I am so sure.
It was like, oh, you know what? We was gonna look out for you because they thought I was snitching.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. I just told a fucking fake story.
Yeah.
And they held it on me, boy. I was in there for a long time. Well, not a long time. Like, I probably could have got a PR bond, but they ended up giving me a real bond. So I was in there for like a while, 90 days, shit like that.
Wait, you did 90 days in jail?
Yeah.
You've done longer than that, though, right?
No.
Wait.
That, you know, that's funny what you say because that goes back to like, remember how you said that one day?
Yeah.
Seemed like,
Yeah.
Remember, I did a year in jail. I did like 90 days.
That's
like,
still 90 days.
Like, I don't even know if it was
That's a
90. I
long
don't remember
time.
how what. My father told me how much it was recently because I put it in the book the exact date. How much? You remember?
It was less. Can't remember actually.
I don't remember, but that was the first time I went. But it was more than a month.
Dude, I was.
But to me, I was in there forever.
Yeah.
Bro, I
Yeah.
was in West Virginia. I've been in West Virginia filming this movie, right? And I'm in this small town of West Virginia. There's no Uber. I'm in a shitty hotel, right? Indie movie budget. I'm very grateful for the opportunity, but the hotel is shitty. But there's no Uber. I'm outside of town. I've eaten at the Cracker Barrel 4 times in 2 days because it's right next to the hotel.
That's great eating.
Yeah.
I'm not
Those
gonna lie.
You didn't go to
biscuits are
Tudors? You didn't go to
delicious.
Tudors?
What's Tudors?
It's a biscuit spot.
No.
No.
The
I can't
biscuits
get
at Cracker
around.
Barrel.
I can't
Okay.
I can't get around. But I'm in. And I literally, when I'm not working, I'm just in the hotel doing nothing. And I started to, and I have TV, I have my phone, I have internet, I have Netflix, I have everything. But I understood prison. I was not in control of my ability to go anywhere. I didn't have a car. I couldn't even go rent a car. If I walk, there's nowhere for me to walk. I'm locked. I need warmth, so I have to stay inside. It's either Cracker Barrel or the hotel.
Okay, well, think about that.
And imagine that with no distraction. And I was going crazy.
You're absolutely right. And think about that because I've had that same feeling. In West Virginia, by the way.
Yo, West Virginia, bro.
But I'm gonna tell you the difference. You could actually open that door and go walk outside.
I'm aware of it, and And honestly, there were times where I just walked outside and then I walked back in. But I just needed to feel
Word up.
fresh air, freedom. I don't know what it was, but in these moments, I was thinking about a guy in jail, and I go, imagine I didn't have all these TV. Like, what do you do with the time?
Yeah.
What do you do with
And it's slow.
slow? Oh,
It's slow as fuck.
They
in
can't
jail.
binge watch nothing. They're just sitting there
Nothing.
with like 4 channels on TV.
They have Facebook now.
They got Facebook?
I have so many cousins in jail that keep hitting me on Facebook.
So
I'm
now you
catfishing
understand
everybody.
why you suck a dick.
Yo,
You're bored.
just to do something. No, it's like you ever been on
Pass the time.
real talk. You ever been on a long ass flight and then
And randomly suck somebody's dick?
and
No.
suck dick?
No, that never
Like, you
happened
ever
to
been
me.
on a flight, you just started
I've
sucking
never
dick?
had that issue.
Yo, no.
I just had a bunch of long flights and that
And
never
suck-
occurred.
no dick?
It never occurred
Shit,
on this
those
flight.
flights get short by about 30 minutes. No. But actually, matter of fact, there was a crazy story. You didn't hear about the girl who passed out on her flight? She was asleep and she woke up. This dude was trying to finger her.
No.
Yo, that's the most brave dude ever. I'm
Why
just
is he
saying.
brave?
Like, yo,
In this era,
you stuck in the plane.
Yeah,
yo,
you out
know
your
what I mean?
fucking
Like,
mind.
You can't even run away or nothing. Like, this guy was trying to figure a girl in the fucking plane. That's the most insane thing I ever heard.
how hard was she snoring? Like, what kind of deep sleep did he think she was? I'm serious.
Oh, she out.
Like, what the fuck is wrong with you, man?
No, but all I'm saying is, you ever been on a crazy ass flight and then turbulence hits and it's exciting? Because
Yeah.
finally there's something to focus
Yeah.
on because I've been so bored on this.
That's why
fucking
people
flight.
get up just to walk around, you know what I'm saying? Go get a snack, like whatever.
I like writing on flights. So like I love just
the free time. That's you
yeah,
locked
because
in.
nobody can get a hold of you and
Yeah.
like you just but
I treat planes like jail. I'm going to sleep.
you fly
I treat
a
planes
lot,
like
I'll
jail.
be
so
out.
like that's
I'm getting fucked.
I'll be out.
Yo, someone
this
get
flight?
some dick on this flight.
How long is flight? Hey, you, Georgia, first class. What's happening?
Hey, move that curtain. Move that curtain, George. There could be no privacy on this first class.
Listen, man, let me tell y'all something. JasFly, I don't even want to say she's the next anybody.
But I'm gonna tell you how much I believe in what Jazz does as a writer. I believe Jazz is what Shonda Rhimes does. I believe Jazz is that times 10 to me. I don't put too much pressure on her.
Rare air.
I don't put too much pressure on her, but I'm just saying. And I've been reading Jazz stuff for years, like, and she just gets better and better.
Can I just say that to that part of it? When in 2013, it was right around the corner in this same studio, I was so frustrated. I knew I wanted to go back to TV, and I wrote my first pilot, and
which was Empire. That was Reckless, which was Empire. By the way, Jazz wrote Empire way before there was an Empire. When I saw
it wasn't
Empire,
the actual Empire.
I said, Jazz, you know this is Reckless, right? That was her show, Reckless, but yeah.
And that's, and I know what to do with it at that point because most of my contacts in Hollywood had moved on, and I went to you. I didn't know who else to go to. I had that, and I had the Stan trailer, and I sat with Charlamagne, and I was like, "This is what I have," and I showed him, and he was like, "Yo, okay, I see it." And you were the first person to actually believe in me. You and B, who became my agent, and not only has it been that, it's been, people think that you get on and all of a sudden you're on. It's like this shit has been a build and it's been highs and lows. Yo, Charlamagne has paid my rent.
Stop. You have to...
Listen,
I
tell you something.
No, but
I just want to say one thing.
It's important.
That's a beautiful thing to say.
Oh, I shouldn't.
But he's gonna get a lot of calls like, "You ain't paying my motherfucking rent. You said figure it out. You hit me with a figure it out." He gonna get some hashtag me too.
I'm sorry, Steve.
Yo, you blew up his whole spot.
It's all good. It's all good.
But that's the level of like I believe.
All I gotta say is, all you people who thought Charlamagne was gonna pay your rent, then he don't believe in you. Yo,
I mean, it's
he
something
don't
to
believe
that.
in
But
you.
it's something to that, though. It is something to that. Like, I believe in Jazz that much. I think she's that dope.
But I appreciate that.
How much was your rent?
That's not.
Dude, how much the rent was? Because if the rent was like $4,000, I would be like, "Babe, you got to downsize." I don't know if we gonna do all this $4,000. I believe in you, boo, but I believe you need a roommate. That's what I believe.
Listen. Like I said, I say all that to say, you saying that means more than anybody else saying that. So,
Word.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shit, look at him doing 2-hour clips.
Yeah.
Yo,
Well, listen,
we come back hard in the first year. Oh, man, we come back hard in the first year.
Tell them where to find you, JasFly.
You can find me on social media as JasFly, JasFly,
And
with
right
an
now-
S, not a Z. And then Tuesday nights, This Is Us on NBC.
Get them tears out, man.
We got the Super Bowl episode coming up.
Really?
It's right after the Super Bowl.
Wow.
And then
When's Jim Carrey show start?
we start filming in the spring, so it won't air until the end of the year probably.
What is your storyline on This Is Us so we can follow?
It doesn't work. Like, it's not every person writes one storyline. You're in the room, you're breaking it, and then the individual writer goes off and writes the episode.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So it is collaborative in like how you...
Oh, yeah, totally.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But the actual episode is written by
One
one
person.
writer, and then they work with the showrunners, etc.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's JasFly.
Thank you.
This whole new black renaissance that's going on. I feel like Jazz is a part of that, even though her stuff is way more broader than just,
I am honored to be in that. It's like it's the era of the black creative. I want hopefully that to extend to the Latino creative, to the Asian creative, etc. But I think
Aziz might have messed it up for the Muslim Indian creative. I don't know.
Yo, real talk. This is the most Indian Aziz has been.
Whoa!
I'm just saying, son. This is for the first time. This is the first time I'm like, this guy might be Indian, bro.
I'm gonna employ
like he's Indian right now.
I'm gonna employ your advice and say, let me go.
As always,
full circle.
As always, if you listen to this podcast, you think we're smart, you think we're intelligent, you think we're brilliant, you're absolutely right. But if you listen to this podcast and you think we're just a couple idiots,